Hello and welcome to round 3 of the Drift Masters European Championship here in Finland, the PowerPark, a brand new track. It is looking glorious, as you can see. The sun absolutely shining here in Finland as the drone goes sweeps past us. Look at that. There it goes. There it goes. And the dramatic backdrop of roller coasters and funfair rides will be no match to what is going to happen on this track. We have a roller coaster of our very own. If qualifying is anything to go by yesterday, the stands were absolutely packed for that. And today, I'm expecting no different for the top 32 battles. We saw some practice this morning, and boy, oh boy, did it look amazing. But as I say, yesterday, practice was extremely dramatic. We had a thunderstorm, we had lightning, and we had electricity of our very own on the track. Right, just to kick things off, let's get a quick reminder of what has already happened this season. As I say, we are in round 3, but in round 1 we kicked things off Mondello Park in Ireland, where Peter Wojciech carried on where he left off, the two-time champion, winning in Mondello Park. And then from there we headed, of course, to Sweden in the last round, where Juha Rintanen got a maiden win, which I'm sure will please the crowd here if Juha can repeat his heroics from Sweden. We are here in the PowerPark for round 3. Then we head to Riga, Latvia, which is always an epic affair, before heading to, in my opinion, one of the most unique settings for a motorsport event, Ferropolis in Germany, before wrapping things up with the season finale in Poland, Warsaw, a brand new location, 58,000-seater stadium, which is set to be absolutely epic indeed. And as I say, if the hometown heroes can do a job here in Finland today, I'm sure 58,000 seats will not be enough because the fans have come out in force here in Finland. As I say, Juha Rintanen did the business in Sweden last time round. He got his maiden win, and if you need reminding of how that went down, this is what happened.
Conor Shanahan, big initiation from Heinen, and he absolutely screams away, puts a little bit of ground between him and Shanahan, but now Shanahan edges up onto the door. Shanahan on the back bumper. Well, just as much as we hyped it up, they delivered. What an incredible run.
It's going to be Lauri Heinen getting the win. Heinen gets the win.
Here we go, off the line they go. Shanahan to lead out. Juha Rintanen looking to get this one done and dusted. Jack's going to try and drive away. Absolutely fires through.
And Juha Rintanen will get the win and goes through.
Nakamura now looking stronger than ever and showing the form that he has as a Japanese champion.
The judges are saying, we want to see some proximity. We're encouraging proximity. He got some proximity. That's exactly what Nakamura brought to that battle. Naoki Nakamura is here in European drifting. He is back in business.
Yeah, this is it, the third and fourth place playoff underway, ready to rock and roll. And look at Nakamura. Naoki Nakamura is super wide, but he holds on to it, shallows up the angle, now begins to drive away. Look at Nakamura, he is absolutely gone. He fires into that final outside zone, and Pöytälaakso has no answer for the Japanese champion as he takes it home.
The stage is set. The two fastest men in Sweden this weekend sit on the line as we now head to the final. One will win and one will lose, and we're about to find out. Here we go.
Oh, look at this from Rintanen already flying through, but McKeever on the back bumper, big initiation. McKeever goes for it, but he can't match the pace. He's been outpaced by Juha Rintanen, who swings that car from left to right. And McKeever, the man that we said was fastest round this circuit, is now left in a cloud of tyre smoke, but Rintanen shortcuts the outside zone. And now McKeever starts to rein him back in. Can he find anything in that final outside zone? And he can't, as Juha Rintanen leaves the Irishman in a cloud of smoke. Wow.
Rintanen takes the win at round 2 of the Drift Masters European Championship in Sweden. The fans go absolutely crazy. Most of them finish in attendance, and Duane McKeever is going to have to settle for second place. My voice is gone, my heart is beating, and that is what this sport is all about.
The standings, and this is taking yesterday's qualifying session into account as well. Duane McKeever tops the standings on 165. Then it is Lauri Heinonen on 150 in second place. That will please the fans here at the PowerPark. Juha Rintanen, who got the win, 136 points. Double champion, back-to-back champion Peter Wojciech will look to turn that disappointment around here, 132 points. And then it's the Shanahans, Conor on 110 and Jack on 106. Well, here we are in the paddock. As you can see, everybody's getting ready. It was a hive of activity a little bit earlier on, but let's go for a walk, see if we can get a little chat in with Juha, who is just standing in front of his car. Just hear a few fans. Juha, let's have a conversation. You're live on Red Bull TV. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, the car is fine, and the track is awesome, I think.
Talk to me, before we speak about the track here, talk to me about what happened in Sweden. You got your maiden Drift Masters victory. Are you still buzzing off the back of that?
Well, yeah, sure, but this track is a whole lot different, so it doesn't really compare how you have to drive it. So here it's going to be very close tandem battles. What's going to make the decision who's going to go forward?
Must have been great for you to get that victory as well, because although we were in Sweden, there was a lot of Finnish fans in attendance. So just for those guys, you know, did you feed off of them, you know, the energy that they gave you?
Yeah, of course. Between the runs, there's like huge celebration and everything. They're shouting the names. Of course, other drivers as well, even foreigners. And being here in Finland, it's crazy. All the grandstands are packed, and it's crazy atmosphere.
Yeah, even for the qualifying yesterday, so I know today is going to be even more crazy. Hopefully the sun holds out, because it got a bit wet yesterday. How was that?
It was tricky. Like that was the second lap on this car on wet ever.
Really?
Yeah. So considering that, the qualifying went really well.
Yeah, were you happy with the lap that you put in the performance that you did yesterday?
Yeah, because of that, yeah, I'm comfortable.
Yeah, I can feel a few drops of rain now, even though the sun is complete. I can't see a cloud, but I can feel it. It's weird. But listen, good luck for today. You know, have you got a message for the Finnish fans? You can deliver it in Finnish if you like as well.
Pitäkää lippu korkealla, tänään tulee hyviä sijoituksia kaikilta. Yes.
There you go. Good luck. Enjoy. Right, let's take a walk, because you can hear the fans cheering just down there. We'll take a walk and see what Lauri's up to. He's just a few down as the music pumps here in the paddock. This is what I love about drifting, by the way. Can I just say, the drum and bass here, everybody's up for it. Everybody's ready. The sun is shining. I can smell barbecue in the air as well. And here he is, in front of his car. Another hometown hero, Lauri Heinonen. How are you feeling, my friend, ahead of this one?
All good. Sun is shining and car is good.
Talk to me about your quali lap yesterday, because you put it in.
Yeah, it was a pretty comfortable run. Like I didn't push it. We saw it in the entry. I left a bit of space there, but it was enough for the top 3.
So you think that you've got more to give today?
Yeah, of course. We will add the grip and make it a race.
What about this track? Because there's been a lot of talk about the track. It's an awesome setting for starters, with the roller coasters and everything in the background. Have you managed to get on any of the rides?
No, not yet.
Maybe afterwards. But the track in itself is a bit of a ride, right? It's very different to Sweden.
Yeah, it is. It's tight and technical, and the bumps make like all the difference. When you choose a line, it might be like completely different than the earlier one because of the bumps.
Yeah, and the championship is wide open. You know, you're in a really, really good position. How confident are you? Because we've got here today with the Finnish fans all getting behind you. Then we head to Riga. We've got Ferropolis, and then we round up in Poland. Are you confident going into round 3?
Yeah, I'm confident. The car is good now. It's not fighting like against me, so we are doing everything together, me and the car. So I'm confident.
I can see you yesterday as well, feeding off of the fans. Have you got a message for the Finnish fans? And if you could deliver it in Finnish for us, that'd be great.
Yeah, thanks. Joo, kiitoksia kaikille, ketkä on tullut kannustaa. Ihan mahtavaa vetää kotiyleisö edessä, niin hieno päästä. Tulee hyviä suorituksia, kun kannustat.
Done and done. Listen, good luck today. Enjoy yourself. Make the most of it. So there we have it. We are moments away from the action here at the PowerPark. So now is the perfect time to hand over to our commentary team of Dave Egan and Ian Waddington. Over to you guys, fellas.
There's round 3 here, and I'm going to say this out loud for the first time again. A theme park in the middle of Finland will be the setting. The Mikko Salo go-kart circuit transformed, extended, and a load of concrete walls put around it for the craziest setting of the season so far. An amazing qualifying session yesterday where we saw lightning, thunder, and as Nick mentioned, electricity on track as drivers tried to go through tough conditions and a lot of crashes to get into the top 32 standings. And that's where we are today, top 32. My name is Dave Egan. I'll be talking you through all of the action, trying to break it down with my good friend Ian Waddington. Ian, this track has proved very difficult. You heard Laurie Heinen sort of alleviate a lot of our nerves here by saying he's feeling comfortable, but I think there's a lot of drivers very nervous today.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of drivers that are nervous. The thing that stuck with me, though, Dave, in that interview was that he said he had more in the tank. More in the tank. It was not pushing it all the way. Look, the bumps in the track that he talked about, yeah, there are a lot of undulations. When I got here, we noticed that the track fell off camber. There's a bank section. There's a big jump outside zone 5. This is not an easy track, Dave, to get your head around while being door on door in top 32.
Absolutely not, and it is an interesting, I'll tell you what, it's an interesting game of chess everybody's playing at the moment. Pushing hard or holding back. They can't hold back anymore because here we are in the top 32, and then 4:55 local time. We will head to the top 16 main event with the parade. This is where the nerves start to build for all of these drivers. This is go time, but before we decide who goes through, there's going to be 3 people making that decision for us this weekend, and it's our 3 judges, Vernon, David, and our head judge, Kevin O'Connell. Kevin, I'm going to throw over to you. It's been a tough qualifying session to separate these drivers. This track has a lot of moments in it where it can turn your whole run around. What are you guys looking for specifically today in the tandem battles?
Yeah, it definitely is, Dave. We've seen during practice and qualifying that this track is extremely difficult and extremely technical the whole way throughout. But we are judging it to the same criteria as we always do. So for that lead position, we're obviously looking for the lead driver to hit all of those clipping points, maintain a nice consistent angle the whole way throughout, and drive so that the chase car can follow. But 1 or 2 notes on that, make sure you keep an eye on the first transition. We'll be particularly watching that so that the chase car can follow it. And as well, the second transition coming down into outer zone 5. Those are 2 areas that we're particularly watching closely for the lead line today. As for the chase car, we will be looking for them to obviously maintain as much proximity for as long as possible, especially on a technical track like that. It's all about that proximity and maintaining that proximity the whole way throughout. Obviously, initiate no later than the lead driver. Very carefully match or better the lead driver's angle. That's a critical one on this track, and also mimic the lead driver's transitions and line. I have a feeling from watching practice today that we're going to see some phenomenal battles here today, and it's going to make our lives very difficult, but I can't wait.
Thanks, Kev. We are also very excited, and it's going to be interesting. And we want to have a little bit of a quicker look at the track because you've heard of how they win, but this track is a lot going on in a very short space of time. Very technical, very difficult, and not natural for some of these drivers. But I love the challenge, and these drivers will be relishing it too. The track is all about proximity, but that lead line is oh so important, and that's what the lead driver is looking for here. As they come off the start line, they got to slam through the gears, get up to 3rd gear, and then initiate no greater than halfway across the track into this first corner. This is not a natural arc as they head into outer zone 2. Got to push the rear of the bumper, scrape it all along that wall, then tuck the nose of the car in, clip that inner zone, and then fire on full throttle out here to outer zone 4, which again pushes you all the way to the edge of the track, the opposite of the racing line to outer zone 5. And then of course, and for natural, you got to transition full steam into a big bank corner with an immovable wall and run the rear bumper across that and across the finish line. It is difficult, it is sketchy. There's tons of different transfers of concrete to tarmac. There is lots of bumps, there's lots of hollows, and some of those walls aren't perfectly, you know, in a complete arc. There's a lot for a driver to do, and a lot of the drivers that have qualified high yesterday still saying to me behind the scenes this morning that they are not comfortable. And two men that will certainly not be comfortable are our first two heavyweights heading into top 32. Probably the most anticipated top 32 of all time, Conor Shanahan and Rovanperä. But let's see how they got there. Conor Shanahan, massive qualifying run. He came in and absolutely stormed through the track to a 97 while the track was still dry. It was to prove to be the best qualifying run of the session, and he goes number one. Now, usually you will go up against the 32nd driver, which is generally someone struggling. But Rovanperä, he did struggle a little bit in the first run, slamming into the wall, breaking the suspension on the rear end of his car, making the car collapse at the back end. He tried to continue the run, but the wheel left the building and he dragged it all the way home. Huge panic in the pits to get that car back together and back to 100%. But while that happened, you can see the clouds came in, the rain fell, and the track conditions completely fell apart. So Rovanperä having to use all of his rally knowledge of conditions to come out there and put a solid lap in. Could he push 100%? Absolutely not in the conditions, but he did just enough, barely, to creep into 32nd position, which put him into the mix and up against Conor Shanahan in our first battle. Ian, we have never started a top 32 with this kind of reaction from the fans. The Finnish fans all want Rovanperä, the championship very much in the hands of Conor Shanahan, and this top 32 already stacked up and ready to go.
Certainly is, Dave. Yesterday, that changing weather condition completely changed the layout of what we normally expect to see a top 32 looking like. And as you can tell straight away off the bat, as Dave's just been saying, massive battle for the first battle, Shanahan versus Rovanperä. But we look down, and this is stacked with heavy hitters. For me, a standout battle after watching practice earlier, Kevin Pesur, Alex Holovnia. Those two guys, champions in their own right, but wow, to see them now in top 32, it's going to be electric, Dave. This one, I can't wait to get the action started.
Yeah, we are even nervous commentating on this one because the stakes have never been higher. The crowd has never been more amped. We are here in a theme park in Finland. It's go time for the top 32. Well, if you wanted the goosebumps to raise on your arm, what about the youngest ever winner of a Drift Masters event going up against the youngest winner of a World Rally Championship? It is Kalle Rovanperä in the Toyota Supra going up against Conor Shanahan in the GT86, both from the Red Bull stable, but they will not be on the same page for the next 5 minutes. They are bitter enemies on the track, good friends off it, but expect fireworks from the off here. As Rovanperä puts that car back to 100% overnight, Shanahan has been sitting in the pits talking to his brother Jack Shannon about strategy for this battle. It has been all night, no sleep for both of these guys, knowing that the first battle they have may be the biggest of their career, and that's how we're kicking off round 3. Shanahan laser focus, Rovanperä laser focus, lights will go green, and here we go.
Yeah, here we go indeed, Dave. This one we've been waiting for, and look at this as Rovanperä stares across. Shanahan flicks the car across the circuit. Rovanperä dials it in, he's on the door already, up onto the wall. They go, Shanahan tries to get away, but Rovanperä shallows the angle, looks for the side of that GT86 as they transition through the centre of the circuit up onto the wall. Goes Shanahan, and Rovanperä on his heels as he makes a big dive down on inside zone 5. Now they get back into it, back to the bank section, up onto that final outside zone, across the line, and Rovanperä is with him.
There you have it. Straight from the off here at round 3, we have an electric battle as brother Jack Shanahan looks on, shakes his head and said, now that's going to be tough to beat. Conor Shanahan did everything he did in his qualifying run, go out to the edge of the circuit, get that line right, but Rovanperä said, not today, buddy, you are not getting away. Made some big moves, Ian, and made it stick. That entry was death-defying.
It was death-defying, and he knew he had to make the dive on initiation because he knew he had to stay with Shanahan. And look at this, they both get in there, that mirrored the angle. Judges were talking earlier on in when the practice was going on about shallow angle in the chase position. No such thing right here from Rovanperä. He did shallow up the angle, but he was anticipating the line before he made the transition. Almost made contact. Does evade that outside zone 4, but look, he has got major proximity as he makes these transitions and dives onto the door. And you can see that Supra, look, diving in through the window of Shanahan's GT86. As Conor slows that car down, outside zone 6. Look at this, a big dive once again. They make their way up onto the wall. Rovanperä says, this is it. This is the do or die moment. Push up onto the door, get the exclamation mark stamped, and see what the judges have to say.
Well, Rovanperä has done all he can do in the chase position. Now he is in the lead position. Shanahan has to dial that car up to 11 now and get on the door of that Toyota Supra. Shanahan knows that a good run's not enough here. A great run's not enough. An exceptional run, or he's going home.
He certainly is going to be going home. And you know what? He's in the fight for the championship this year, and he wants this one. And he knows Rovanperä, look, he's been playing around this year, in and out of events. Can he make it happen? Look at Rovanperä right to the edge of the circuit. Doesn't mess around now. Rovanperä on the wall. Shanahan, though, with him. Shallows up the angle, looks for that inside zone, dives across the circuit. Shanahan wheeled up on the curve. He's starting to fall behind. Hasn't hasn't got that proximity. Whoa, dangerous transition though from Shanahan. This is do or die moments from Shanahan as Rovanperä looks for that final zone. He's on the wall and up and gone.
Incredible stuff from Kalle, Rovanperä and Conor Shanahan. And if you ever wanted a little bit of a highlight of how competitive this championship is, well, you've just watched it. Two of the young guns in the sport showing you exactly how bright the future of this sport is. They're only getting started, these two young men, and they're already stealing the show. But to me, it was all about pace there. Shanahan struggling to stay with Rovanperä through the first half of the course. He was closer, Rovanperä. Shanahan had moments of great proximity. But then when Rovanperä put the wheels in motion on that Supra out of the slower corner, Shanahan losing a little bit of ground.
He was, and look at this. He shallowed up the angle quite a bit there before he left outside zone 2, and he was wheels up on the curve there. And I kind of want to rewind a little bit there just to see if Rovanperä was where the judges want to see it. There's two white lines, on the circuit, and that's kind of where the front of the car needs to be for the lead car to allow the chase driver to get in it. Look at Shanahan there as he balances that car through the smoke on the transitions. He's making brave moves, Dave, on a track where there is nowhere to get it wrong.
Absolutely. Now, again, towards the end, a little bit less proximity, but I will say one thing. Rovanperä maybe not as good a lead run as Shanahan when I'm looking back at it. So Shanahan with a better lead run, Rovanperä with a better chase. That's how I'm seeing it at the moment. It could go either way, or it could be a one more time. We have absolutely no idea what the judges are going to say, but both of these young men, very, very good friends behind the scene. They've been, in each other's paddock. They've obviously, Conor's gone over and checked out some of the World Rally stuff, and so has Rovanperä checked out some of the drift stuff. Great friends behind the scenes from two different disciplines, but right now, the biggest decision of the top 32 will drop in, and it is going to be a one more time between Conor Shanahan and Kalle Rovanperä, and I guarantee you there won't be one complaint anywhere about that decision. I got to jump back to Kevin O'Connell. Kevin, nothing separating both of those guys. We saw it as a better lead from Conor and a better chase from Rovanperä. What way did you guys see it?
Yeah, I heard you guys mention that, and you were correct. Definitely a better lead line from Conor. Really from that was a small bit of too much of a handbrake drag at outer zone 5 by him, but other than that, he was really nailing that qualifying line. Kalle, great proximity the whole way throughout. Quick note on it though, he was shallowing up that line and angle in places to maintain that proximity, which we deducted him for slightly. Then you switch him around. Kalle had a great start to his lead run all the way to the end of outer zone 2, but then he, on his first transition, which I just said we were really going to be watching and nailing this weekend, he was very tight to that curb. And if you'll notice, when you look at that curb, that we have two lines painted just outside it, and we're going to be extremely critical on the lead car here today. If they're putting a wheel on that curb or over those lines, we're going to be nailing him for it on the lead line, and that's exactly what Kalle did, which gave him a major slingshot down into the second part of that track and gave Conor a major disadvantage on his chase run, which is hence why we saw more of a gap between Conor and Kalle from there on out of the track. After that, it was very tight, and we had to see it go one more time.
Thanks, Kevin. It makes perfect sense when it's broken down so eloquently by Kevin O'Connell. And I'll tell you one thing, I'm not complaining. I want to see those guys go at it again. We're moving on. Another huge battle will be Ørjan Nilsen from Norway going up against Paweł Grosz from Poland. Every battle in this top 32 means the world to these drivers, and I can expect a lot of door smashing to be going on here right from the off. Nilsen flipped the car twice on its roof in Sweden, gets it all back together, even made the battle in that event. There is no die in that team, and Paweł Grosz looking for a turn of fortune in this championship. Ian, he hasn't shown us yet how good he is and how good we know he is. This could be the moment.
It could be the moment, Dave. We spoke about this yesterday before qualifying. We was having a walk around the paddock, we were watching some of these guys practice, and we said, that's such a beautiful car, and he's such a talented driver, but we're yet to see anything from Paweł Grosz. We know what Ørjan Nilsen's capable of. He's capable of some incredible runs, incredible battles, but is it time to prove it again? They're off the line, ready to rock and roll. Ørjan Nilsen to leave in Paweł Grosz right now. Big initiation from Ørjan Nilsen as he gets that car set up on angle now, looks for the wall, struggles to get all the way to the outside zone. Paweł Grosz gives him the room to manoeuvre now. They come through that inner zone, and you can see those white lines. Paweł Grosz goes over the curb, but he's in that chase position now. They change direction down to outside zone 5. And Ørjan Nilsen, an absolute flyer, is in big snappy transition, looks for that final outside zone. Grosz takes the opportunity to get on the door.
Yeah, interesting one. I'll tell you one thing, some interesting moments from Ørjan Nilsen. Again, that lead line, which the judges are really looking at. He made some errors. Watch, big angle on the entry. This was awesome, but he gets to that next outer zone quite late, gets into the zone late, and then gets kind of okay through that. This is the big mistake for me, though. Watch the inner zone. Completely misses the inner zone. And as he transitions back, Grosz has to go straight up over the grass, and I'm not sure if that's because of the the lead car or an unforced error, but it's messy from both through there. As they tidy it up, Nilsen doing a good job towards the end of the run. Grosz starting to turn the screw, get a little bit closer, and you know what? Pretty even battle for me there. Not the perfect lead, not the perfect chase. This one may come down to the second half of the battle, but what I love about this track is from the moment of initiation until that finish line, there is no breathing room. Every time you're watching every transition, your heart's in your mouth, and I absolutely love it. It's walls for the lead car, that's what he's worrying about. It's the rear end of the lead car that the chase car is worrying about, because it's like a fish in front of the way, transitioning right in front of you all the time. Here we go, second half of the battle, Grosz to lead in Nilsen.
Yeah, there we go, flicks the car from across the circuit. Nicer initiation from Paweł Grosz, but look at Nilsen right up onto the door straight away, but he's in that outside zone. Paweł Grosz running the spoiler along the wall now, cleaner lead line. Oh, contact as Ørjan Nilsen takes a big chunk out the back end of that Toyota GT86 as he now hungry for it, makes a big dive down the inside on outside zone 5, but he's gone super wide now on outside zone 6, makes a big dive once again and flicks the car to the door and across the line.
Ørjan Nilsen must have put 58 panels on that car since the start of this season. He has no fear whatsoever. As they come into that first corner, Nilsen on more angle in the chase position than the lead car was. Grosz goes out to that outer zone. This is a beautiful lead run from Grosz at this point. Now Nilsen gets really close, but he gets pinched up a little bit here. Watch that lead car as they come through. Nilsen gets into the pocket, but he has very little space to transition. Grosz on the right line as they transition. Nilsen hits him before the transition, meaning Grosz has a little bit of, look, watch this as he comes through. Grosz has to make a bit of an evasive maneuver here because he expects to be transitioning smoothly, has to sort of force through the front of that SOAR, and that to me looked like a mistake from Ørjan Nilsen getting a little bit too close. As they come through the second half of this course, Nilsen now, knowing he's made a little bit of an error, starts to reel in Grosz. Big dive here, but Grosz is on the right line, and Nilsen with a very snappy transition here in the chase position to try and stay with the Polish driver. To me, it looked like Nilsen making the bigger error there of getting a little bit too close before the transition. But they're both having an inspection of the damage here. This is like when you have a little bump in your exchanging insurance details.
This is Paweł Grosz saying to Ørjan Nilsen, man, my car is always immaculately clean and you've just wrecked yours and mine.
We shouldn't have said anything about his car being so perfectly clean.
No, and Ørjan Nilsen's like, well, it happens.
Let's see which way it goes. Going into the top 16 will be Paweł Grosz. Paweł Grosz gets the win and goes through. Paweł Grosz gets the win, and Ørjan Nilsen is eliminated at this stage of the competition. Kevin, quick one back to you. Did it all come down to that little bit too aggressive from Nilsen up before the transition on Grosz?
Yeah, that was the main issue really on that one. It was a fairly substantial contact and definitely affected Grosz's lead line. So for the rest of the run, Ørjan was at a massive disadvantage for that. And it really messed up and made the rest of his run quite scrappy as well, actually. Quite tight, actually, even with that, when you consider going back to the first run, because Grosz had a lot of cutting to try and maintain. Big of a mistake put by Ørjan Nilsen to overturn any disadvantage that he had after it. So definitely Grosz getting the win overall.
Thanks, Kev. Great to hear it. We move it on to the man that won in Sweden, Juha Rintanen. Unstoppable at the last round, but he's in his hometown and he wants to do some damage. Well, he's got a very, very tough competitor, although a young one, in Itay Sadeh from Israel, 16 years of age, looking to make a name for himself on the big stage. Well, taking down the last round winner would do just that, Ian.
It certainly would do that, Dave, but for me, people probably count Itay Sadeh out of this battle. In the wet, he was one of the highest qualifiers for a long time. So this young man has a wealth of experience and talent for his age, but now he's going up against one of the OGs, one of the biggest names in European drifting. They're off the line, they're through the gears, and Juha Rintanen fires it across the circuit. Itay Sadeh knows he can't let Rintanen get away, and now Rintanen starts to pull some ground, and Sadeh starts to cut the circuit as he looks for the back bumper of that GR86. They go to outside zone 4 through the centre of the circuit. Now Juha Rintanen starts to feel a little bit more comfortable as he puts a little bit more ground between them. Itay Sadeh once again shortcuts the circuit, misses the outside zone, but it's all business as usual for Juha Rintanen.
Well, we always talk about his speed. We always talk about his commitment, and once again, you're seeing a textbook run from Juha Rintanen. That car, that GR86 that he's debuted this year, looks like it's even more impressive than the S15 he had before. He comes in faster than Itay. He's on a wider line around the circuit, and Itay Sadeh still can't catch him, and that goes to show how fast he's driving that car. Now, remember, when we talk about speed, that makes it difficult for these drivers. It means they're gripping the car up to have forward momentum. What it does make difficult is actually drifting. So you've got to be so committed with a very gripped up car to make it work work on this very technical, tight circuit, and it looks like Juha Rintanen's found that balance beautifully. No mistakes really from him in the lead position. Sadeh cutting the course, and Rintanen looking like he's on rails.
He certainly is on rails, and you know what? I think he's put that car in a place where he knows it's comfortable to drive, but it's fast enough to get away from some of these competitors. They're back on the line. Now he has to try and balance that gripped up car, though, in the chase position, which sometimes isn't that easy. You know, you're going up against a guy that's not as quick as you. Can you balance that gripped up car? We're going to find out.
We talked about it. When you've got a fully gripped up car and the car in front is a loose line, you know, it's really wide. Your car can straighten quite a bit in the chase position. So Rintanen's going to have to really be on the throttle here to make sure that car doesn't waver in the chase position. Game of chess starts right now into that first corner as Rintanen fires in behind that E46. E46 going very wide. Itay rubs the wall, smashes the back light on the car as Rintanen backs off a little bit, not sure what the youngster is going to do, and now he starts to make that proximity count. He needs that little bit more proximity to force this for a win. Itay doing a great job in the lead position and absolutely perfect from the lead car. Up over the curbs he goes, but Rintanen has got far more proximity as they finish it out.
Yeah, incredible job from Rintanen. He just played that very calculated, and that is the wealth of knowledge that he has in the tank, because he didn't do too much. He did exactly what he needed to do to impress the judges to put himself through. Watch this. He let Itay make this mistake all on his own. You can see, watch this. Rintanen slows the car down the handbrake multiple times there because he knows they're on the wrong line to get to the wall, and he hits the wall, and that upsets the line from Itay in the lead position. From there on out, Rintanen says, well, you look comfortable now, so now I'm going to start applying the pressure. I'm going to start applying that proximity. I'm going to rein you in. And look at this, he gets dangerously close there on the back wheel as he transitions the car. And for me there, another mistake for Sadeh. Wheels over on outside zone 6, and Rintanen says, right, let's just stamp this one, let's get it done. Gets on the door and gets the job done.
You know, Juha Rintanen's starting to look to me like he is getting more and more confident. He's always got the ability, he's always had the car and the talent, but confidence means a lot in this game. And it looks like Juha Rintanen, every time we talk to him in an interview, it looks like he's just going to the shops. You just met him on the street, there's no big pressure on, and that's going to play into the advantage. And of course, Itay Sadeh this year trying to get that experience, and what better experience than going up against someone like Juha Rintanen. Results are dropping in, and going through to the top 16 will be Juha Rintanen gets the win. The Finnish crowd go crazy as one of their heroes is in to the top 16, and we are a little bit worried about how crazy this place is going to go if we see a Finnish driver win here today, because they are amped and ready in the grandstands. You can see more blue and white than any other color around here, and of course Juha Rintanen, a little bit of a job done. We're into the top 16, but top 16 is not a win for Juha Rintanen. He's looking at that top step, trying to replicate his success from the last round, and there is one step closer to that goal.
Yeah, certainly is. Well, breaking news in the last couple of seconds, hitting my headset, Dave, and I know you've been busy there talking away, but Dylan Garvey, unfortunately, has suffered mechanical failure, hasn't made it to the line, so it will be a bye run for the Finnish driver, Mika Keski-Korpi, another Finn getting through to the top 16. And you know what, Keski-Korpi having mechanical problems earlier on in practice, saying that the car was boost cutting, he lost the electronic throttle. Unfortunately for Dylan Garvey, those mechanical problems coming just before he shot at top 32.
Yeah, and important to notice about Garvey is that, look at this, Keski-Korpi's under pressure here as well, because he might not have had enough car to get through Dylan Garvey if he had a working machine, because Keski-Korpi making some errors. Remember, all he had to do was initiate into the first corner to get the win. So Keski-Korpi will just make a pass of the circuit and get himself into the top 16, which I'm sure will delight all of the fans here, but it won't delight Dylan Garvey.
No.
And Dylan Garvey, very unlucky season so far, had a tire failure at round 1, clutch failure at round 2, and now another mechanical failure at round 3. So it's really much Dylan Garvey against himself this year rather than anyone else on the grid. And when the car works, he's been performing very well.
Of course.
But Keski-Korpi had his own issues in Sweden with his car breaking down, having to borrow another car, and now he looks like he's got some issues as well that he will have time to fix before top 16. But here gets the obvious call with no competitor to go through to the top 16. Keski-Korpi, another Finn into the top 16, but it'll be a little bit interesting to see which way it goes, because Rintanen and Keski-Korpi will go head-to-head. The Finnish fans, well, they won't have a biased side on that one when two of their own countrymen go up head-to-head in the top 16. But yeah, we're rattling through them here, and still some huge battles to come.
Yeah, there are some huge battles to come, Dave, and still stacking them up. We're still getting through them very, very fast here, and Mika Keski-Korpi makes his way off the circuit. Up next is going to be a car that we set our eyes on 2 days ago and said this is probably one of the most beautiful JZX 100s we've seen in competition in Europe. It is Jarkko Jylhä to go up against Felix Lindvall. We talk about grocery getters, we make a little bit of joke about the Uber. Well, there's two on track right now, so we can get all of your IKEA flat pack in there, and the kids, the dog, the whole lot ready to go.
I'll tell you one thing, practical battles. But I'll tell you one thing about this. You know, we talk about Drift Masters all about getting on the doors. Well, there's 8 of them to choose from here. So you got a 4-door JZX 100. This is the only left-hand drive one I've ever seen, which has been converted. They all came in right-hand drive. It's been converted to left-hand drive. And then we've got a guy who's in usually a more conventional car before this round, and Felix Lindvall in S15. Now he's in a Mercedes. So you got a Mercedes 4-door against a Toyota 4-door with about 2,000 horsepower here, about to hit a very small track. Is there room for all the transitions that are about to happen?
I was just going to say, I'm not sure there's room on track day for some of these transitions between these two guys.
It's going to be crazy, and both guys, you know, we haven't seen too much of Jarkko Jylhä in battle action. He's a wild card at this event. We've obviously seen Felix Lindvall, but not in this particular chassis. So a big unknown clouding over this one, and let's see who can take it home. This is going to be very fun to watch.
It's certainly going to be fun to watch, but for me, Jarkko Jylhä, look, come in yesterday as a wild card driver. We've seen him before, but qualified 4th, Dave, and he was only pipped to that 3rd spot by Laurie Heinen because he is higher in the championship standings. So it just goes to show you, he's got a lot of talent. Has he got the car, though, and has he got the knowledge and the experience to go head-to-head in a twin battle? We're ready to rock and roll. And there we go. We can see our start line Marshall Martin wearing those limited edition Drift Masters Finland hats. There's one for every country we visit, Dave. How cool is that?
That's incredible. Well, here we go. Let's see what happens in this one as Felix Lindvall chases in. Juha into the first corner, and oh, look at that. It's a slow entry from both guys. They've got to slow big cars down into that one. But now we get on the throttle and pick it up. Things are looking much better. Lindvall now in the chase as he fires through. A little bit of a tight cut of the track there from Juha as he comes down the track. Oh, and look at this now. You can see Lindvall losing a bit of ground to the Toyota in the latter sections of the course. Oh, look at that. Not getting the proximity from Lindvall towards the end. And we've watched a couple of great battles to this point, and we know the judges said it's all about proximity.
Yes, certainly is. But for me, I want to go back to what Kevin O'Connell and the judges talked about before we went live and before we got into this was that lead line. That lead line was key. Big initiation from Jarkko Jylhä, but watch this as he gets into outside zone 2. Pins it to the wall, absolutely beautiful. Textbook stuff, exactly what we want to see. The transition though on inside zone 3. Watch this, he comes through and look where the front wheels are, on the curb, and he completely misses outside zone 4. And the judges are going to absolutely nail him for that because that probably would have allowed Felix Lindvall to make that transition to outside zone 5 a little bit cleaner and probably gave him the run in to outside zone 6 and 7 to be on the door, Dave. I think that's why we lost that proximity.
You know what, you're absolutely right. I'm looking back on it again, and again, I was just admiring that JZX 100 in the lead
yeah,
position.
I know.
But he does make some errors. He puts a wheel up on the curb, and that cuts the course.
Yeah.
Lindvall loses ground, but he's gaining ground, Juha, because he's cutting the course. So
circuit, yeah.
sometimes you got to think about it both ways. You know, you can't have a good chase run without a good lead run, and a big part of this is that is the lead driver doing what he's supposed to do? Well, let's see what happens when we turn them around. This is going to be an interesting one. Can we see Juha get close on entry?
Well, we're going to go for it, this is for sure. Look at this now as Felix Lindvall fires in that big Mercedes-Benz into the wall, rubs the back end, flexes the fiberglass up onto the wall. No proximity at the moment from the wildcard drivers. They transition now and a cleaner lead line, and look how wide Lindvall is as he gets the job done now down into outside zone 5. A little lost ground there from Jarkko Jylhä as he goes for the dive onto the door. How did he make that one pay off? It's a big car, he's got the proximity across the line.
Wow, it all came down to that last transition for me because Lindvall goes on mega angle. There's a big snappy transition and Jylhä's coming at pace going, uh-oh, and then he manages to make it work. Impressive stuff from both of these guys. First corner though for me, Lindvall absolutely on it. Now he was buried into this wall.
I mean, watch the back end of the car.
It looked like a Mercedes compact as he came through there, and it just flexed back out again. But this is important. Watch the front wheels of this car as it transitions back. Not just barely onto those white lines. Not as big a mistake, not perfect, but not big a mistake as it was the other way around. Now watch the ground is being caught up by Jylhä here, and look how quick he has to transition. Oh, that must have been millimeters there as they transition back and get up onto the door. Jylhä does a good job. You can see Lindvall getting late to that outer zone. Judges having a little talk on this one. So a better lead run from Felix Lindvall, in my opinion.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Jylhä with better moves though.
Yeah,
up
more
close.
bravery. He may be rewarded for the bravery of the dives, but I'm not sure that this one is, you know, I think this is all going to come down to the line. That lead line was something that Kevin O'Connell and the judges talked about quite a lot, and outside zone 5 as well. And I think that's going to hurt Jylhä's markings here, the score, because he cut Felix Lindvall off so bad he had to put wheels over on the curb. Here we go. Scores dropping in, I do believe. I wonder how the judges see this one. Here we go, scores dropping in. Who is going to go through to the top 16? and it's going to be a one more time. So it's going to be a one more time. Kevin O'Connell, just briefly, I'm guessing it's all down to that lead line.
Line. We saw several mistakes by both drivers, unfortunately. Jylhä definitely having a better proximity all the way throughout his chase, but he was having to sacrifice that line as well a little bit to maintain that proximity. But it comes back to the major deciding factor again was that lead line. Felix having a decent lead line, maintaining the qualifying line that we wanted to, but Jylhä, remember as I said at that first transition, he definitely put a wheel up on the curb and massively cut it, and then that didn't give the opportunity then for Lindvall to actually maintain that proximity on the door. So if he had have stayed on that qualifying line and not cut the track at that curb, he definitely would have gotten the win overall. But we are being really harsh on that today because it is the defining factor, and if you can maintain proximity for the remainder of this track or not. So we have to see him go one more time.
Thanks, Kevin. We go back to another massive battle. It wouldn't be settled first time around. Conor Shanahan, Kalle Rovanperä, the current reigning WRC rally champion, goes up against one of the youngest and most talented drivers on the grid, Conor Shanahan, who did take down almost everybody in the last couple of years. Well, he's got a big prospect here of making world news if he can take down the world rally champion. However, Rovanperä struggling a little bit in qualifying with the wet and the dry. They went door to door on the first time around, no separating. It was basically Rovanperä cutting the track a little bit too much in his lead run and Shanahan being left for dead. Will they have changed the setups? Will they have? They'll have a look at the first battle. They've definitely learned from that. This one is going to be fireworks because as far as I can tell right now, both of these guys are going to have learned a huge amount from the first time around about each other, about the track, about the setups, about the grip. This is for all the marbles.
It certainly is all about the marbles, Dave, and they would have fought themselves out. They would have felt each other out. They would have known what they do. They would have definitely have made some small adjustments here in the car. Well, here we go, across the track goes. Oh, wow, Shanahan! And Rovanperä mounts the door of Conor Shanahan's GT86, but Shanahan, like a beast, keeps himself in it and absolutely fires through the circuit. Rovanperä keeps himself in the game, but there's definitely damage to Shanahan's car as he goes off track. It looks like there could be damage on that rear wheel. They go up to the wall, across the line. Oh, my God.
Well, I was just about to say Shanahan almost dropping two wheels off the circuit, but I'm wondering, was there any major damage done from that impact on the first corner? It was a big one. As they came off the lot, we're going to see this absolutely perfect from our drone pilots here. As Rovanperä tries to get too close on entry, he surges forward, and as they transition, he hits heavy into the back wheel and the door of Conor Shanahan's car. And how Shanahan keeps it out of the wall with all that extra momentum pushing him forward. You can just watch the front of that Supra just flex. Not only up the wheel he goes, climbs the rear wheel, smashes into the door, and then keeps himself out of the wall himself. And they stay going. It's not like even we call it there, they stay in it. But Shanahan definitely has got to have suffered some sort of damage from that as he comes through. And if he hasn't, as they transition back, I mean, it would be an incomplete from Rovanperä. He completely stopped drifting, but is it an incomplete from Shanahan here? He goes very wide to the edge of the track over the white line. So does he drop two wheels off the track as well? Or what way will the judges see it? I have absolutely no idea. I don't have to make any of those decisions, which is fantastic. But what I will say is that they both have moments in that could be categorized closely as a zero. But I think for me, Rovanperä causing a lot of those issues there with that big impact on the first corner.
I think there could be a problem with the back of Shanahan's car potentially because he drove in and up the wheel. So I think for me that would probably cause the car to not want to react to an outside
it actually looks
but do you know what? I'm looking at it now like you are, Dave, and you guys at home, and I don't think there
watch,
is.
this is the decision now. He's asked Conor Shanahan, is the car okay? And Conor says it feels okay. Now Conor knows if he just goes out here, he knows there's an incomplete, definitely for sure, for Rovanperä on that incident, because his spotter, his brother Jack Shannon will be on the radio saying he absolutely smashed in the first corner. He's on an incomplete. So Conor Shanahan can say, do I chance this and go back to the pits and try and fix something, or do I just get it done now on track? All I've got to do is put in a run, and I probably will take the win. But we don't know what happened towards the end of the run with Shanahan's wheels. I have a feeling that he will probably not get an incomplete for that. He was too borderline. So therefore, does he want to just run it? The car looks surprisingly in good shape for me at the back for the impact that happened, Ian. This is just such drama straight away.
But this one's going to come down to the judges because they're obviously going to deem Kalle Rovanperä at fault for the contact, which means technically Kalle Rovanperä will hand Conor Shanahan a competition timeout, which we don't see very often here at the Drift Masters European Championship. That is deemed by the judges. Look, we're not stupid. Everyone else at home watching is not silly. We all see it in plain sight. There was clear contact, which means that Rovanperä won't be allowed to touch his car. He will have to park in the pit lane here in like kind of park firme conditions.
That's what Marcin is explaining to me. He's going to have to pull the car off the track, but he can't touch the car.
He can't touch it. But now I'm getting confirmation that Shanahan is going to get a competition timeout to check that car out. I feel there is damage on that car, and that is why he went wide on outside zone 5.
So Kalle deemed at fault. You can see the damage to the front of that. Beautiful. Well, it was beautiful at the start of the weekend. Now he's done the back end and the front end of that Supra. And it goes to show how far Kalle's pushing to try and stay in the competition.
And I kind of want to clear something up as well, because there's probably a lot of people at home saying, oh, well, Conor Shanahan was on the handbrake outside zone 1. Not like most other circuits, there is a decel zone at outside zone 1 before you get to it, because these guys are heading in third gear, Dave, to a movable concrete wall. So there is a slight decel there, so they are allowed to do a straight line handbrake initiation or use the handbrake to slow the car down, because there'll probably be a lot of people watching saying, well, you're not normally allowed to brake, Dave, when you initiate, which is standard procedure for most of our circuits around Europe that we visit, especially Sweden, for instance, where we did see some contact there.
Yeah, no,
but on this circuit specifically, sorry, Dave, there is a decel there. So,
100%. And
Conor not at fault.
And if you don't decel, you're just going to go smash through the wall.
You're going to be going round the roller coaster on your drift car.
Exactly. So the chase car, more importantly, is expected to expect a decel in front of him. And I think that was just Kalle trying to be too close. He went close on the first run, he went even closer the second, didn't pay off. We'll see the second half of that one in a while, but here's another big battle coming up. Eryk Goczał from Poland will go up against Juha Pöytälaakso from Finland. 2 Finnish drivers already through into our top 16 in Rintanen and Keski-Korpi. Right now we haven't witnessed any Finnish driver just right about now be eliminated. Rovanperä definitely on the ropes, but nobody's been eliminated, no Finnish driver. They're definitely getting the crowd behind them. They're feeling the vibe here in the Mika Keski-Korpi circuit right beside the PowerPark theme park, and that seems to be the theme right now is the Finnish drivers getting the adrenaline from the crowd, right?
Yeah.
But it'll be enough to take down Eryk Goczał. He's been on fire all weekend. He is leading in. Pöytälaakso into the first corner.
Yeah, he's been absolutely on rails, and Pöytälaakso smashes it into the wall. Eryk Goczał, for me, has been a standout driver in twin battle practice this morning, and Eryk Goczał has kind of this weekend, Dave, turned something on in the car inside his brain, because he has been on rails, a rocket ship, and it goes to show you how fast he is, because Juha Pöytälaakso is a fast-flying Finn, and he couldn't match the pace or the grip there.
Yeah, Pöytälaakso has wrecked the car.
He's wrecked the car.
So the reason you're seeing that he cannot call any 5-minute rule to fix that car or competition timeout, because he is deemed at fault for this incident. It's not Eryk Goczał that's at fault. Goczał comes in fast, Pöytälaakso can't hang. He starts to wash, Goczał gets the grip, and boom, he's into the wall. A rear suspension damage on the right-hand side of Juha's car means that he cannot compete from this point on, which would hand the win to Eryk Goczał if that was the case. We'll wait for confirmation, but to me it looks like that car is not going to come out of that wall.
Goczał was like tickling throttle on and off. He waited for that car to grip, and then while Juha Pöytälaakso is skating across the circuit, waiting to make contact with the wall, Goczał is on throttle, driving away.
We're going to let you in on a little secret that we very rarely will come across any other round, but we're going to let you know that before we get to battles, Ian and I have a little chat about who we think's going to win. And
you can't reveal that, Dave. That's top secret information.
I'm just going to say right now, we're not going to say who Ian picked, but it's playing out in this particular battle the way he watched Eryk in practice, and he was flying.
Yeah.
Like, you watched every run, it was almost like Ski Electric. Same run, same run, same run. When you see a guy that comfortable earlier on in practice, you know. We saw, I picked the same for you, Rintanen in Sweden.
Yeah, you did.
His practice runs were just the same over and over again. He wasn't good one, bad one. It was just perfect.
And there were some standout moments from the twin battle practice that we witnessed, and everybody here in attendance was lucky enough to witness this morning. That was that Eryk Goczał chased down Peter Vincek in a run round here. Now, we know Peter Vincek's fast, and there's a lot of people saying he's the man this weekend that could win the weekend.
Well, he's always the man.
But Goczał was on his door, and I mean glued to Vincek around here. Then he went against Duane McKeever and just practiced, Dave, and it was like it was a final battle because Eryk Goczał pushed Duane McKeever around this circuit.
Yeah, well, look, you'll see now at the moment they're fixing Shanahan's car. You'll see those pieces of string that are tied around those rear wheels. So what they're measuring here is is the car square? Is the alignment the same as it was before? And I would imagine that there is an alignment issue here on the rear end of the car. Now, maybe there's no issue on the back end of the car, but I'd imagine one of those adjustable arms on the back of the car with that hit, starting to get a little bump, maybe knocked out of the side. He's on the radio right now. You can see it to his brother, Jack Shanahan, speaking about the strategy. And here's what, I'm going to tell you what they're talking about. Conor's saying, if he's got the competition timeout, Jack's saying, well, yeah, you got the competition timeout, meaning that Kalle has incompleted his run.
Yes.
So that's the only way you're in this position. So therefore, if you go out in that car and you just put a run in and you don't get a 0, you're going to win this battle. So Conor will know what he needs to do, give his radio back and say, okay, I got to get out there. But then that's easier said than done if the car isn't 100%. So let's get the car 100%, then we'll go out for that one run. Rovanperä will be in the lead position, meaning he really can't force the issue other than just do a lead run. He hasn't been able to touch his car since the first incident. His front suspension could be in trouble as well. So it looks to me there's Rovanperä waiting, giving a little bit of a chat to Jack Shanahan, saying that I think Rovanperä is going to know, as a professional race driver, that was an error he made himself unforced.
100%. And look, and he would have been completed because A, the contact, and B, because of the...
Yeah, well, Nick Bright is down with Conor Shanahan right now. Why do we have to speculate? We don't, because we've got Nick Bright there to ask the questions. We want to hear what happened there. Well, that was a big bang, Nick. Did he feel that one in the car?
Yeah, let's find out. Conor, what's going on? Just let us in what's happening here.
Yeah, unfortunately in the first corner we received some contact. I obviously tried my best to carry on with the run and was hoping that he was going to be on the door. I don't want to win this way, but yeah, obviously I was just doing my thing as normal. He made contact and it pinned something on the rear. So as I went down the hill into outer zone 5, I was like, oh, this thing doesn't feel 100%. So it was quite sketchy to keep it on track, but I tried my best to finish the best lead run I could. The guys are fixing the car the best they can so I can go back out there and hopefully get onto his door and put on a show in front of these incredible fans.
Yeah. Do you think the guys have identified the issue and do you think they can sort it?
Yeah, we can't fix it 100%, but they will just track it out of it as best they can, try to get the car running okay, and fingers crossed I just get around and advance through to the top 16.
All right, good luck, mate.
Thank you, dude.
There you go. Well, I'll tell you what, Ian, you were spot on.
I tell you what, I'm having a good weekend this weekend.
Well,
I'm kind of calling it all. I called the weather yesterday. I'm calling qualifying. I mean,
well, to be fair, you might have peaked too soon. That can happen too.
Yeah, and I might have ruined Eryk Goczał's weekend by calling him out as on the podium by the end of the day.
Absolutely, but I'll tell you, you're absolutely right. When he went down the hill to that, we were wondering, why did he go so wide? Did he drop wheels? Well, if that was deemed to have been from the contact, which we now know it was, then even the judges would take that into account and say, well, the car wasn't behaving 100%.
No, of course.
So what they've said about tracking it out of it, I'm going to, if you're a new fan,
you're going to do some technical advice.
This is scary ground. So what he says by tracking out of it means that they've bent something on the back of the car. They can't take off the whole rear suspension in the time they have to replace it 100%. They will have that time from this battle to the top 16. So what they're doing is they're adjusting the arms to basically overcompensate for whatever bend is on one of those 3 or 4 arms on the back of the car, meaning that it is straight. It's not great, but it will handle a lot better than it did in the first run. I think I did okay there.
You did absolutely perfect, Dave. For a man that doesn't even know one end from a spanner to the other, I think you nailed that.
I do in theory. It's different, you know?
Yeah, theory.
So we have got all of the Shanahan team making sure that car is 100%. They reckon that car is now tracked, as
usable,
they say, usable and not going to be unpredictable for Conor to drive. Rovanperä has not been able. Now, for me, that says another little story developing here, because if Rovanperä has hit him that hard and it's bent something on Shanahan's car, you can be pretty sure it's bent something on Rovanperä's car, which means he's in the lead position, throwing a car at a wall, and he might not have the front steering in that car that he wants, but he can't touch it. He has no choice.
Yeah, look,
or he'd have to just say, I'm out of competition.
Yeah, look, he'd have to put his hands up and say, look, there's no way I feel safe leading Conor around the circuit against these walls.
And if you look up nervousness in the dictionary, have a little look at Jack and Conor's mum there on the right-hand side of that little box on your screen. So she is biting. There's no nails left.
There's no nails.
She is. Look at that, fidgeting. She's wondering, did she leave the lights on back at home in Ireland? She's having to think about everything. This is what happens. It's a family affair for the Shanahans. And it's an interesting one, because Jack, when he's not in the car, is 100% concentrating on Conor and how he's getting on, and then Conor jumps out and he's doing all of the spotting for Jack when he's on the track. So they're double roles in the whole team, but it's such an advantage for the Shanahans, because not only do they have a spotter who's assuming what the track is like, they have a big advantage here because they have another driver on the track being able to relay that information.
competition. And even better than that, Dave, they both drive identical cars, so they can relay information between each other. They can share setup knowledge between each other. This is like the dream team that you never want in a drift competition to all these other drivers, because they're like an unbeatable force sometimes.
Yeah, well, there you have it. You can see Juha Pöytälaakso being recovered from the track. He pushed a little too hard, but you know what? No, there's no harm in trying to be the best by pushing that hard, because look, you can't hit a wall, you can't lose. But I always say when these guys are traveling home from these events, they're always going to think, if they didn't go hard enough, that's worse than if you make a big error trying your best.
Well,
a lot of drivers say the last thing you want to do is just give the other guy the win, not try at all and do something safe and go, oh, I could have just pushed more. At least if you go in the wall, you know, I pushed too hard, but I was trying. That was everything I had.
Look, no one wants to give 50%, Dave. These guys know they can't give 50%. It always has to be 100% of the time. You know?
At this level, the safe run is out of the window.
Yeah,
once you get to top 32 at Drift Masters, getting around is not going to get you anywhere. Like, this has got to be full throttle, full commitment. These tracks are tough, they're technical. The judges are watching everything. We got drones, we got cameras everywhere. You can't get away with anything.
You can't put a foot wrong.
You can't put a foot wrong. So you got to be perfect and you got to be committed, and the judges reward that commitment and reward you out there. But now we've got Eryk Goczał arriving back up to the line. All he's got to do is initiate into the first corner, and he will get the win. And it will be the first Finnish driver to be eliminated from the competition. Unfortunately for Juha Pöytälaakso, he didn't make it past the first corner, but he was trying to go in behind a very fast and on-form Eryk Goczał, who I think is going to catch a couple of people out like that this weekend.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a name that rocks up through competition today, and people are going to say he hasn't really made any moves this year, but he is a very talented driver. Look, Dakar driver at his age, like, he's an incredible force to be reckoned with. Now he's starting to make a name here, and these small circuits, this mix of circuits we use across the year, could be the game changer for this championship.
Yeah, Goczał will just have to initiate and do that first corner. He can choose to drift the lap or not. But again, it's a free practice run for him if he wants. But every run we see from him, it looks like he's so comfortable in the chassis. He's got the grip right. The gear ratios are all good. Like, he's not making any changes. I looked around his paddock earlier. They were all just chilling, eating sandwiches. They weren't even trying to change anything on the car. That's when you know they have it figured out. And I think he's going to be really tough for anybody who comes up against them this weekend. And the great thing about Drift Masters is that, yes, we have a couple of guys that you see.
Oh, and he DB'd.
He DB'd a tyre.
How lucky was that?
He DB'd a tyre. Imagine that happened in the battle. Oh.
Well, I mean, the DB'd, I mean, I don't know where it happened, but look, obviously he fulfilled the first outside zone. He initiated, which is a requirement from our judging panel, that they have to initiate and drift the first corner, the first portion of the corner. And he did that, he fulfilled that request. But, he dirt dropped. So he dirt dropped to the outside zone 5. So he could have knocked himself out of battle there if Pöytälaakso was still in it. But look, we make it official. Eryk Goczał, Dave gets the win, advances through, and he'll go back to the paddock and go, God, that was lucky.
He's going to say, let's not do that again, because that could have cost him the battle if Juha Pöytälaakso was still in it, which he wasn't.
He wasn't, but...
Stay with us, folks. You're going to have to follow us down this journey today, because there's going to be a lot going on. Unlike other motorsports where you're...
I don't know if there's a problem with Kalle Rovanperä's car. He just went to flick that car around. It lifted the front wheel clean off the tarmac then.
Could be just all the grip he's dialed. I don't know. I think Rovanperä will drive this car around the track with 3 wheels if he can, because I mean this is a rally driver's mentality. I've seen rally drivers take cars that are bent in half and still finish the stage. So I think Rovanperä is going to say, I'm just going to try it either way. I would imagine that car is probably at about 60-70% of where it should be, and Shanahan's is about 80%.
There's only 60% left of it at the moment, so I mean
that's true.
he's left the rest on the side. It's held together with a bit of duct tape, Dave. You know.
When you see the duct tape coming out on a very expensive car, you know that car's had a hard day.
It's had a hard weekend, that's for sure. So there we go.
So remember, if Shanahan just does a clean chase run here without any errors, he will get the win. If Rovanperä he's not much he can do except try and put on a really good lead run and maybe create an inactive chase, get a lot of pace through the course and see if Shanahan can't catch up or falls way too far behind. But it's going to be very difficult in a car that I think is not going to be very easy to drive for Rovanperä's sake. And this would be 2 top 32 exits for Rovanperä in a row, one with a mechanical failure and the second with a crash. He is certainly having a roller coaster of a season in Drift Masters, and Conor Shanahan, all the nerves would have subsided now. He knows just get the job done, and Conor will know, I can drift this track. I'm the top qualifier. All I've got to do is be smooth, be steady, and get it done.
Yeah, certainly so. So we await confirmation. Looks like our track start line marshal Martin down there, just having a word with Kalle Rovanperä.
He's saying, if you turn the steering wheel right, does it go right? Rovanperä's like, sort of, kind of. Just send us. We'll be fine. We'll figure it out ourselves. The question is, if he goes into that first corner and the car doesn't react the way he wants it to, he can go straight in the wall and we can have a lot more damage on that Supra than we do have right now.
Yeah, so there we go on the line. I do believe it's just a slight hold up on the circuit at the moment. So as soon as we get that sorted, we will be underway. No other problems, so no other panics. As Kalle Rovanperä sits in a car, ready to rock and roll. Yeah, I mean, look, the danger for Conor Shanahan now, really, in my mind, is an inactive chase.
And I don't think he's going to let that happen, because I think he knows Rovanperä, regardless of how good or bad the car is going to be, you know, finishing the run. So he's not going to be too scared of Rovanperä. He wants to put, he even said he wants to put a show on for the fans. Does he take it as a bit of a, like, here's a chance for me to push the World Rally Champion around the track with nothing to lose?
Yeah.
Does he take it as a, let's do a little bit of practice here for the next run, how close I can get, because even if I make a massive error, we still get it one more time. So for me, I think Shannon's not going to be too far behind. Rovanperä, for me, watch the front end of that car. I'm not too sure if it's 100%. It's going to be a sketchy one here, I think.
It certainly is. Well, they're off the line. Kalle Rovanperä to lead in. Conor Shanahan for the second half of the run. A nice initiation for Kalle Rovanperä. No messing around. Doesn't make any mistakes until the car is working. He runs the spoiler along the back, on the wall. Now looks for that inner zone. Cuts the nose off there, right across the front of Conor Shanahan. Doesn't get deep into outside zone 4, but now gets to 5 and goes very wide. Big flick back for 6. Shanahan makes that little dive in. Doesn't do too much, does enough to prove he can take down Kalle Rovanperä.
Yeah, look, it's a proud moment for both of these guys to come out here and put, you know, after a bit of a messy start to that battle, go out there and prove how good they are. That was a clean battle, great run from both drivers. It's not going to overturn anything. It's not going to change anything from the first half of the battle. What I like about it is that, you know, Rovanperä goes out on his feet, right? He goes out there, shows us the potential of what could have been the rest of his weekend without that impact. He was on it. He had a brilliant chase run against Conor in the first battle. It's unfortunate, but that's drifting. You go too aggressive, you go too close. And, you know, Rovanperä had a very interesting interview with Nick Bright yesterday saying, you know, in a rally, you have 2,000 corners, so you can make a mistake and get yourself kind of back into it. In drifting, you might have 4 corners, but one mistake and your weekend's over, and I think he's fallen foul of that.
I think he has fallen foul of that, Dave, and you know what, all down to the initiation, and he just tried to be too greedy, just tried to take too much out of it, but unfortunately, Kalle Rovanperä knocking himself out of competition, and he knows it, he knows what's coming on, and Shanahan says, well, I'll take that one, because I don't think the rest of the day, Dave, is going to be that easy for him.
No, because he's got Paweł Grosz next if he goes through, so it's going to be tough. So let's see which way the judges go. We think this is going to be a pretty obvious decision, and going through to the top 16, we'd imagine it is a formality, and it is Conor Shanahan getting the win and going through. I think you'll know that's coming. Rovanperä bows out in top 32. But you know what? He bowed out by going so aggressive onto Conor Shanahan's rear end of the car. So smiles all around from the Shanahan camp. They are going through to the top 16. Well, one of them is. We'll see Jack Shanahan in competition later on. And Rovanperä, well, his weekend will end there, and we'll see him later in the season for another roll of the dice. I definitely wouldn't count him out of a podium. And let's go down to Nick Bright. Nick is with Kalle Rovanperä. Nick, not the start of the weekend he wanted. Big impact with Conor, but he went out on his feet.
Yeah, Kalle, just talk us through that. It was very, very close between you guys. We had to do the OMT and there was contact. Just talk us through it from your perspective.
Yeah, the first battle was already quite intense. A good battle with Conor. Of course, I trust him. I know he's doing a good lead, so it's nice to follow. And then, yeah, on the one more time, I was just pushing a bit too much on the entry, and yeah, he was starting to slow down just a bit before I was thinking, and then yeah, I had the contact and hit him. So. Yeah, for sure not a good weekend, but at least one thing is nice about the weekend is to see all the Finnish fans here. So thank you everybody. It's
just a message for them in Finnish if you could, you know, and you know they appreciate it.
Joo, toivottavasti joku suomalainen voittaa tänä viikonloppuna ja kannustakaa ainakin niitä niin kovasti, että ne tietää, että te olette niiden puolella. Kiitos.
Well done, mate.
Thanks, Nick. That's exactly what I was saying, Ian.
Yeah, you said that. You said that. You translated for me off air there.
I have no idea what he said. I assume it's keep your hearts up because we've got a lot more Finnish drivers in this competition, and thanks for coming out. I'm going to assume.
That's what he said, yeah.
I'm going to assume. He's a real sportsman, Kalle Rovanperä, and they're super proud of him here in Finland, of
and
course.
You know what? I feel that he's had an unlucky run here at Driftmasters European Championship, and I feel that sooner or later he's going to get that little break, that snap, and then he is going to be unstoppable.
Well, I think it happens, you know, even the most talented drivers, they go through what I call the ringer. So they go through a couple of mistakes, and I always speak to a couple of the top guys, and they go, we're only the top guys because we've made more mistakes than anyone else, and we've learned from them. So he's still new to the sport. He's learning every round, and you know, he's going to be a shark in the water later on. Let's move on to the next battle. It's Kevin Pesur against Alex Holovnia. Holovnia taking down Peter Wiańczek at the last round, and can he continue that kind of form in that BMW M2 all-carbon Kevlar? But Kevin Pesur was a man possessed yesterday, qualifying in 5th position. Holovnia is up against it here.
He certainly is up against it, and he's going against another heavy hitter contender in top 32 straight away. Now off the line they go. It will be Holovnia to chase down the Estonian champion as he fires through, and Kevin Pesur is on rails this weekend. 2 BMWs head-to-head on the circuit. Look at Kevin Pesur's lead line right to the wall, but Holovnia tucks up on the inside, waits for the transition. Beautiful lead line from Kevin Pesur at the moment as he opens the door for Alex Holovnia to get up close and personal, but the opportunity not taken as Holovnia waits for the transition, and he's letting go as he dials him in on the wall, and he's up and gone is Kevin Pesur.
Well, I've got to say, Kevin Pesur is a man possessed this weekend. You know, he had mixed forms for the season so far, but this weekend, whatever it is about this setup, whatever it is about this track, he loves it. And in that initiation, you can see outer zone 1 perfect. Watch how close he gets to outer zone 2 here. He is taking the paint off the bumper without flexing it around that outer zone. And Holovnia doing a pretty good job in the chase, getting close. But Pesur on a beautiful lead line. He's outside of those 2 markers you see on the inside of the course. He's running all the walls. He's collecting all of those little coins from Mario coins around the track for the judges. And I'll tell you one thing, there was no answer from Holovnia really on the second half of the course. Now Holovnia in the lead position, we've known Kevin Pesur with the qualifying and with the lead runs, that's dialed in. Now we've got to test him in the chase. Can he get close and keep it clean?
Well, it's going to be tested right now. The lights go amber. We wait for that green light at the bottom to go green, and Kevin Pesur already starts creeping off that start line. He knows Holovnia is fast. Can he match the pace as they fire through? And look at this, Pesur, very technical, goes for that straight line dive onto the door. He allows Holovnia to set himself up in that inside zone, but now Pesur dives on the door, but he shortcut the circuit on that first outside and second outside zone now, and he looks for him. Down they come to outside zone 5, and Holovnia is on an absolute flyer right now. No answer from Pesur. Pesur needs to make a move, and he does get the job done and right across the line.
You know what, it looked to me like it all went wrong from initiation for Kevin Pesur. Goes on way too much angle in the chase position, and it slows him down and he loses ground. And from there, he's playing catch up the whole run. Watch this, look at the angle from Pesur. He almost makes contact, so he backs off, allowing Holovnia to get the run on him to outer zone 2. And Holovnia is smooth like butter everywhere else around the track, and Pesur kind of diving in, but he's not really, he's cutting the course. Watch the front wheels of Pesur's car here on the transition. He's really on the inside towards the curb, and he loses ground again, as Holovnia seems to have a lot more pace as they come down the hill and over the bump here. Pesur on the inside of the track, still not making any impact when it comes to proximity. He does on the last corner dive on the inside of the corner and sort of triangulates his position, as they would say, up onto the door. A little bit of contact here, front wheel to rear wheel, doing a good job to put an exclamation point on the end of the run. But look to me, stronger lead run from Pesur, better lead run, better, not as good a chase run from Pesur. And Holovnia, but it's hard to call this one. Another one more time, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, it's tough to know. Pesur had a beautiful lead run, but he didn't follow it up with a great chase run. And Holovnia had nothing to talk about in the chase, was better chase run, nothing to talk about in the lead run. So it's weird to know how the judges are going to weigh this one way or the other. I'm sure the abacus is sliding left and right all over the place.
Left to right all over. I wonder if there was contact on initiation. Look, we can see some damage on the front of Kevin Pesur's car.
Yeah, it was very close, and it looked like he lost ground. There could have been a little bump there, and that would have been Kevin Pesur again falling foul or coming in too aggressive in the chase.
Yeah, certainly so. So this one down to the judges, and I wouldn't be surprised for one more time. They're down there on the circuit waiting for the decision. Look, judges talking about this one, maybe not as clear-cut as what we thought, Dave.
Yeah, those people you're seeing on the pit lane, all teams and families, so that's where all the emotions are going to be. And it looks like it is going to be Kevin Pesur getting the win. Kevin Pesur gets the win from Estonia. He gets, look at that, he's delighted with that one. Pesur gets through to the top 16. Holovnia takes out Wiańczek in the last round and goes out top 32 this round. Shows how unpredictable and competitive this championship is. I got to go quickly back to Kevin O'Connell. Kev, bit of a messy one there. Why did you guys see it?
It was messy, Dave, but again, it all comes back down to that lead run that we keep on harping on about. Kevin Pesur had a very, very good lead line, making very few mistakes, other than a very slight wheel drop at outer zone 6, but he gave Alex Holovnia every single opportunity to get proximity onto his door, getting that qualifying line exactly as we're looking for it. And unfortunately, Alex just didn't capitalize on that great qualifying line. You switch him around, and then right from the initiation point, unfortunately, Alex was off that qualifying line. He was was about only 2/3 across the end of the track on initiation, and then pretty much missed the entirety of outer zone 2 and outer zone 4 as well, which made it very, very difficult for Kevin to actually have that proximity that we're looking for. He did capitalise on it by the end of the run, and that was just enough to take it overall. But realistically, it all comes down to cleanness. Kevin had a great lead line, and he really nailed it for all the way throughout, and Alex just did not do that.
There you have it from Kevin O'Connell and the judging panel. We move on to the next battle. It is the one more time between Jarkko Jylhä and Felix Lindvall. More doors for more scores. Here we go. It is going to be 8 doors, 2 cars, 1 winner as we head for a top 16 spot on the line. And no separating them. A lot of mistakes and errors the first time around. This one is, look at the amount of duct tape that is on the back of that Mercedes. It is more duct tape than car at this point. There is at least 20 rolls. That guy went into the local hardware store and said, give it all to me. Every bit of duct tape. What's it for? A Mercedes. Haven't got time to talk. We're going to a battle. Here we go.
Yeah, off the line they go. It's going to be Jarkko Jylhä to lead in. Felix Lindvall, beautiful initiation from Jylhä as he gets himself into that second outside zone. Look at this, he's absolute textbook on this lead line. Tucks a nose in on that inside zone, transitions, opens the door, and look at this, he's going to just about touch outside zone 4. Do enough to impress the judges, and now Felix Lindvall knows he needs to make that proximity. Big transition from 2 heavy cars, and that late transition from Felix Lindvall didn't give him the proximity.
No, you know, it's strange. It looked to me maybe Lindvall left the transition too late. I'd have to see it again on the replay, which is the beauty of all this technology. We can see it again. But it looked to me like Lindvall had a very sketchy transition out of outer zone 2 and inner zone 3. So I just want to have a little look at that again. And was that caused by the lead or the chase? So as he comes into the first corner, you can see you have right out to the wall. Perfect lead run here so far. Lindvall staying with him. This is where it gets a little bit unstuck just after this moment. What happens here? So you can see the lead car doing a good job. Yeah, he's in the right place. Lindvall leaves the transition very sloppy and very late, meaning that the lead car gets away, and now he's kind of cutting the course to try and get back there. This transition towards the wall is the most scary part of the run for both of these cars, because they have to do it so much more like sketchy and fast than any other car, because they have such a long wheelbase to turn in a very short amount of time. But they get it done. It's a clean run. To me, it looks like Lindvall had a moment of proximity towards the end, but will the duct tape hold up? That's the question everybody is asking right now.
Well, it's going to have to hold up, because he's now leading out Jarkko Jylhä as they come off the line. Felix Lindvall flicks that Mercedes-Benz into initiation. Jylhä knows he needs to be closer. He needs to answer the question from the judges. Oh, and they're tagging the wall, both of them in and out of the wall, as Jarkko Jylhä has to make an adjustment there to avoid contact with Felix Lindvall. Lindvall deeper on outside zone 4 as they fire through the middle of the circuit. Oh, wow! And the back end disposed of was that contact with Jylhä as he looks down and says that Mercedes just got 2 foot shorter. Much better proximity from Jylhä across the line.
I'm going to jump in here, Ian, and say a couple of things.
Okay, a couple of things.
Number one, everyone thought I was joking about the duct tape.
It didn't hold up.
But is there a rule in Drift Masters where if the rear of your car comes off in the middle of a battle, the trunk of your car?
There's a trunk rule.
Yeah, if or the boot, as we would call it in Europe. So it's not a rule that we're going to, maybe is that a rule that it comes off? Or is it seen as one panel because it's clamshell?
Well, I mean, look, there is a rule that says that hood, doors and trunk can't open, I don't think.
But again, maybe that's not included if it's a clamshell, because it's all one panel.
Because it's all one big panel.
Yeah, it could be seen as the rear bumper. It is the rear bumper.
But was there contact? I don't know if there was contact on that transition. So did Jarkko Jylhä hit it and force it off?
Well, I'm looking at it now saying there is no trunk. It's just one big bumper.
This is what we're going to try.
Yeah, so it comes off. It looks like it comes off on its own, but it would be the same as a bumper because it's not.
Because it's all one part of
It's all one panel, so that makes sense. And now it looks like the shortest car on the track, which is hilarious as it comes through the last corner. That was a thrill and spill ride there.
It certainly was.
Yeah, we had 8 doors, but in the end we had no rear end on one of the cars. So
we had a compact Mercedes-Benz E-Class.
Never been seen before. Let's see which way the judges go on this one. It is going to be Jarkko Jylhä getting the win as he goes through in that Toyota Chaser. This guy, I'll tell you what, qualifies 4th, takes down one of the big shots of the championship in Felix Lindvall. Back to you, Kevin. And not a clean one again, but it was exciting to watch.
Not super clean, no, but Jarkko definitely having a better and more exciting run over both the lead and the chase. Definitely a better lead line all the way throughout, as he was a little bit off outer zone 4, unfortunately, but other than that, he really nailed that qualifying line. And then when he went into the chase position, definitely had quite good proximity as well. So he did do enough over the 2 runs just to take it. Just to clarify on the rule I heard you guys speaking about, we changed that from last year. It is now only the hood or doors opening. You can have your trunk open during a run. We don't classify that as an incomplete.
Love
there
it.
we go.
Love it. There's no room for the entire back end of your car flying through the air towards your opponent, though. We might need to write that one in.
We're going to get a copy of the rules posted to us now.
I like that, because you can smash the back end. There's so many walls, you can smash them up, doesn't matter.
Yeah, look, that's the thing. Here we go. We're going to move it along. Paweł Korpuliński to take on Duane McKeever. This, a big battle. Why, Dave? Explain to everyone why. Because Korpuliński loves these small circuits. Duane McKeever earlier, yesterday, having problems with the car. Is it 100%?
Well, Duane McKeever goes into this as the leading driver in the championship. The leading driver in the championship at the last round went out top 32. Could we see that happen again? McKeever struggling in qualifying with a diff problem. He ends up finishing in 21st. He's up against it, and he's up against a very talented Korpuliński as they fire into that first corner. McKeever all up in his business as they come through that first section. Korpuliński into the wall, little tag from McKeever, pushing him through that first section. Korpuliński and McKeever. McKeever with a delayed and a very sloppy transition. Korpuliński starting to pull big ground on McKeever as the championship leader at this point. McKeever with no answer. He's got to make a dive into that last corner. He does, but Korpuliński goes to the wall. McKeever goes to the door. Not as simple as we thought it would be.
Well, let's break this one down, because that was very up and down. I want to know if the contact between McKeever and Korpuliński in outside zone 2 was McKeever's fault, or was that down to Korpuliński? He did tag the wall, as you pointed out. Let's take a look at the replay now. Beautiful dive from McKeever here on initiation. Look at this. Puts that car right where it needs to be. But what causes...
So Korpuliński hits the wall, McKeever hits Korpuliński.
I don't know if he did hit the wall. I don't know if he was close enough.
But McKeever stays in. Look, he stays in this one very late.
Way too long, yeah. And then he's done a lovely line there.
Korpuliński drops wheel over that 2 lines.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's not as in it as kind of as far in it as what we'd like to, what the judges were saying would be deemed massive points deduction. But I kind of want to see, was there contact or did he hit the wall? I don't know.
I think Korpuliński, look, hits the wall there, and then McKeever hits him. I'm not sure if that's exactly what happened, but it looked to me like there was a ripple. Now, maybe it wasn't even affecting Korpuliński, and McKeever just hit him.
Yeah.
But whatever happened, McKeever gets stuck on the inside of the corner, and Korpuliński gets out of that corner very fast.
Drives away,
and then after that, McKeever has no answer. So the judges will have clocked that one in and a little discussion on it. It doesn't matter as we head to the second run. It could all change again as McKeever now in the lead position. The championship leader, to me, looking like he needs to pull something out of the bag here. Korpuliński's coming for blood.
He certainly is coming for blood, and we say he's the fastest man on the circuit, and look at this, he's already pulled a massive gap on Korpuliński. Korpuliński now playing catch-up, Dave. He doesn't look like he's got anything in this one, but he does. He shortcuts the circuit, wheels over the curb. McKeever takes it right to the wall. Korpuliński back in the game, back in the business. As McKeever fires through outside zone 6, Korpuliński desperate to find something in this one. He flicks the car to angle on the wall.
Well, McKeever did everything he could do in the lead position, which was a good lead run. Korpuliński got caught a little bit at the start, napping. He didn't realize McKeever would be that quick into the first corner, but then Korpuliński starts jumping through the curbs to try and get back into it, and does. Look at this from McKeever. When he knew he may have been at a disadvantage, so he went right to the wall, bumper hanging off the car. Korpuliński got no answer on the first corner, but he ducks right on the inside of the course. And look at this, look at the front wheels. Korpuliński up over the curb, but now he's back in the game. So he gets that proximity, with McKeever did not have that proximity the other way around. So the judges are going to have a good think about this one, and I think it's all going to come down to that inner zone and leaving that chicane section in the center of the track. McKeever gets caught in it. Korpuliński jumps through it. What's the right way, what's the wrong way? Well, we don't know, but the judges are going to explain it to us. That's the beauty. We don't have to make that decision. You can see the back end of McKeever's car is just like...
Look at that. It's giving up slowly. It's like...
You may go over to Lindvall and get some duct tape and say, I'm going to need some of that. You guys got any spare? He's like, no, we used all of it on that Mercedes, and it flew off into the air. So, yeah. Big smiles from the fans. Either way it goes, everyone here is having a good time. That's what it's all about. McKeever looks a bit nervous to me. Both of these drivers look nervous to me. I don't think they know which way this one's going to go.
No, and to be honest with you, Dave, I'm still up in the air, and I think the judges are still up in the air on this one, because there were so many if, buts, and maybes there on that battle. For me, I'm still reeling that first run outside zone 2 in my head. Was there contact there? Did Korpuliński hit the wall? I think you believe that Korpuliński was in the wall there and that rattled him, but it was McKeever stalling up that gave him the opportunity to get away. And look, we're seeing here, looks like we're, trying to see the end of that run. I think the judges were looking at the end of that run.
Yeah, the judges have a different replay system here, guys, just to let you know that they can watch every camera from every angle, including onboards, separate to what we're watching on our monitors, screens, and here in attendance. So they're getting a fourth judge, essentially, to look through moments on the track and give them options, so that's why they can make those decisions. So clearly, and it looks to me like this one is not going to be decided. It's a one more time between Duane McKeever and Paweł Korpuliński. Both drivers looking quite relaxed and relieved with that decision. I got to go quickly back to you, Kevin. There was some moments there, it seemed like that, the inner chicane on the track causing some issues.
Yeah, definitely, Dave. Both drivers making quite a few mistakes on this one, unfortunately. Duane definitely having the better lead run, and Korpuliński making mistakes in his run, such as that contact that I heard you guys discussing. And then you switch them around, then you look at the chase runs. Duane had a great start to his chase run, but he made a major error then by leaving his transition too late. And Korpuliński just didn't really capitalise on Duane's lead line. He didn't really bring the battle to him until the very final corner. So he didn't really have that much proximity the whole way throughout. So both making mistakes, and unfortunately just not enough to separate, and we had to see him go one more time.
Well, they're going one more time. The championship leader goes one more time, but the current champion is now on the line. Peter Wiańczek, well, he's fallen a little bit down the order after a top 32 exit in Sweden, but he's back for blood this weekend. He goes up against Oliver Randalou, the man he beat in the final of Ireland last year. They've seen competition before. Wiańczek's always got the win, but he'll be hoping for it. He needs this win to get back into the championship fight. He's been on rails in qualifying, rails in practice. Let's see what happens.
Now look at this, he's going to go for a big, fast, wide initiation. He's up onto the wall, he takes the back end out. It upsets the line though. But look at this from Oliver Randalou. He's not even in outside zone 2 now, and he sees a wounded Wiańczek as he now takes that dive and looks for the door of that S15, and a big, brave transition from Oliver Randalou. He shallows up the angle, goes for another one as Wiańczek looks for that final outside door line, and Randalou is with him.
Wow. I was just about to say, if I had any longer to build up that battle, that Peter Wiańczek to me looked like the fastest man around this circuit earlier on. And the reason a lot of people say, why is he so fast? Well, he's gripped the car up, which a lot of drivers are saying that the car is very difficult to drive at that speed. He comes in flying into that first corner, but he tags the wall earlier. This is a mistake, and Randalou has to back off there because he thinks Wiańczek's going into the wall. Similar to what we saw with McKeever and Korpuliński. Lead car touches the wall early, has to kind of readjust. Randalou kind of readjusts as well with it, and I thought Randalou from this point on would fall off the battle. He was brave, he went in there, and at this point Wiańczek gathers his emotions. Perfect again from here from Wiańczek. So from here, absolutely perfect from Wiańczek. But Randalou firing through the smoke, cutting the circuit. We haven't seen this aggression from Randalou for quite some time, but he needs to pull it out all out of the bag. He knows the quality of Wiańczek. He knew he'd go home if he didn't do it, and he's pulled it off.
I mean, I'm not one to speculate, so I'm not even going to try. We're back on the line, and here we go. Randalou now to lead out Wiańczek. I'm not coming to any conclusions. I'm not going to think about anything. I'm just going to get through the second half of this battle. Then we'll talk about what me and you are already boiling in our brains.
We have some structural duct tape on the back of Peter Wiańczek's car already.
Shares in duct tape in Finland just went through the roof.
Sold out.
Sold out. So
here we go. Marcin's going to send them on. Look at Wiańczek taking a big old run up at this one. Clever move from Wiańczek. He can get on the accelerator quicker, and that is legal. As Randalou goes for the big flick, Wiańczek will know he's made a mistake. He's got to eat the door off Randalou here as they come to the first corner. Randalou now tags into the wall. Same mistake as Wiańczek. Back in the balance here as Wiańczek smashes into Randalou, has to back off on the transition. Wiańczek's driving angry now. He knows he's made an error. Randalou's back bumper flies into the hedge as we transition back. Wiańczek up onto the door. Randalou up onto the wall. What a battle in the top 32.
Wow. I mean, if you're not entertained by that, Dave, then I don't even know what more we can do.
I am fatigued
already. Look at this.
Emotion.
Right. Look, let's break it down from initiation. Perfect initiation. Look, Randalou, I'm going to disagree, Dave. I think he gets to outside soon. Perfect. The cone on the wall. He's in the zone.
Watch the steering wheel. He adjusts.
But it's nowhere near as bad as Wiańczek. Wiańczek wanders away from 2 and then back in it again. I'm going to say that Wiańczek there on that part of the circuit wasn't as good as Randalou. Randalou a little tighter to the curb. I agree.
On the inside.
But for me, Randalou's lead line was an absolute flyer, and now his car bursts into flames on the start straight.
Well, we talked about fireworks, we didn't talk about fire, and it looks like Randalou's had an overheating issue or something has happened to his car as they go for the result. Wiańczek, sigh of release. I think, to be fair to Peter Wiańczek, he battled his way back into that. From an error on the very first corner, the first run, everything else from there, I don't think you could ask for much more from Peter Wiańczek. Randalou does a similar error, maybe not as bad on the first corner, but I've got to give it to Oliver Randalou. He put it all on the line there. Both of these guys did. And you would think, current champion, top 32, he'll sail through a couple of these battles. He might get tested in the top 4. Straight from the off, we have Rovanperä and Shannon go one more time. And now we have the current champion in a very split decision battle here. And let's see which way the judges go. And it is going to be Peter Wiańczek gets the win and goes through. You can see the relief on his face. He needed that one to get back up into the championship. Quickly going to run back to you, Kevin. That was a fantastic battle. Those guys were putting it all on the line, but there was some hits with the wall in the first corner. What way did you guys see it?
Absolutely. Both drivers having quite similar lead lines, so for us it really all came back down to that chase run and that proximity, which Piotr absolutely dominated. A really good proximity, adapted to the lead line very well, and just overall a far more aggressive chase run, which just about got him the win overall.
I'll tell you one thing, Kev, if you were to have a look at the back end of all these cars leaving the track, you'd feel like we're definitely in the final, not the top 32. There's an Itay light left in the place. Me and Ian are going to start our own little company now and stand around at the break between 32 and 16, start our own little stall.
To be fair, we did have a business idea last night back at the hotel. We had a very good business idea, but we'll get back to that another time. On the line, Max Heidrich. I mean, we always say he goes full Max Heidrich. He always goes too much. And then you pair him up on top 32 against a man that normally crashes right before qualifying or right before top 32 is, of course, the one and only Portuguese driver, Diogo Correia.
We've seen crashes to this point.
Now you're going to see a whole
I would
other
probably
level.
put my house on this battle containing some level of
some level of damage,
some level of cracked fiberglass here.
I mean, if these two get through unscathed, it'll be a miracle.
I can hear the duct tape being unrolled.
Well, they're
here
off the line, Dave. Through the gears, Correia gives Max Heidrich the room to initiate. Oh, and it's a big angle initiation from Heidrich, and it doesn't pay off. He's way on the inside, way down from the wall, and way away from damaging the back end of that S13. Now Correia is absolutely upset on that line. He's going to have to work hard to get back into the zone as Max Heidrich looks for those outside zones, and he's put him on a completely wrong qualifying line. Correia deals with it. Correia gets himself into the groove, but it's messy from Heidrich.
Yeah, you can see the shake of the head from Heidrich there. He knows he's messed that up. He went for the big angle entry. We spoke to him before the event, and he said, yeah, you can go in there on the handbrake, but you want to go in a big angle or else it'll be boring. Well, the problem is that it's exciting, but it's the wrong line, and he went way off the track, and Correia's going to get all the advantage here.
He certainly is going to get all of the advantage here. Look at this, he goes in, look at and he lets the car wash, and he's like on throttle, off throttle. He doesn't know where Max Heidrich is going to go. He doesn't know if he's going to over-rotate or if he's going to make it round. Heidrich does a good job of saving that and not parking it in the wall or not over-rotating in front of Correia. And then Correia really takes him a long while to get himself back into the groove and back on that line, and it's really only outside zone 6 that he kind of feels comfortable enough to get back into the zone.
Correia taking a big advantage here, but I will say, we're only halfway through.
And I'll tell you what,
with these two gentlemen in the mix, anything can still happen, because Max Heidrich is now in a situation where he's saying, right, I've definitely messed that up, so the only way I can get back into this battle is to have the most unbelievable chase run that anyone has ever seen on the planet Earth. And Max Heidrich has just turned up to 11. So Max Heidrich, just keep an eye on that chase car right now. He's going to have to go for this. Whether that works or it doesn't work. Diogo Correia, I would say just put in a simple lead run and you've got the win here, but there's no simple with Diogo Correia. He's going max attack as well. Here we go.
Here we go, through the gears, down they come. And look at Heidrich straddles in the back bumper. And now Correia throws in a big angle initiation, and he does get to outside zone 2, and he makes it work this time as Correia absolutely nails that qualifying line, goes super wide to outside zone 4, and Heidrich is with him. Look at the transition from Heidrich. Times it way early to try and gain that proximity back through the smoke. Comes Heidrich, looks for the door of that BMW and tags it on the wall across the line. Wow!
Max Heidrich just went full kamikaze mode in the middle of that with those transitions. He doesn't, he's screaming in the car because he doesn't know how he got away with that. Did you watch those transitions in the chase? He literally was just like, oh, whatever, just throwing it in. And I don't think he knew at any point if he was actually going to go in. He lets him get away a little bit at the start, right? Heidrich, I expect it to be a little closer. Now let's be honest, Correia gets late to that outer zone. Yeah, so he's not perfect there. He doesn't need to be with the advantage he has at that point. But from here, not here, Heidrich goes close. Now at this point, Heidrich goes, well, if I don't make a move now, this one's over. Look at these transitions. Boom, through the smoke he goes. And the next one's even, look at this, he's on full 90-degree lock here. And this one, for me, straight through the smoke. And not even thinking about it, goes all the way up onto the door, hits the corner of the car, hits the door of the car, and across the line. But as far as I can tell, yeah.
I mean, you would be impressed with yourself.
I would be impressed with myself if I got away with that one.
I just want to keep playing that constantly over and over.
He knows himself, Max Heidrich. He knows it's not enough to overturn it. Correia is sitting there going, he'll have got the word. I think this is going to be an obvious decision of who's going through to the top 16. And after a tough start to the season, winning the battle is Diogo Correia from Portugal, goes through to the top 16. That's the turn of fortune he needed. That's the confidence boost he needed. And Max Heidrich, I can always take a little breather when he's off the track because it's so scary to watch.
Can we just take a moment to say they are the first 2 cars that have come through there without a smashed tail light.
And I wouldn't have bet on that.
And you would
I wouldn't
never,
have
I wouldn't have put, I wouldn't have put a cent on that.
If I was to pick 2 guys from the paddock to get through unscathed, it wouldn't be those 2. But Correa holding it together, getting the job done. He's had a couple of hits with the wall this year. He had a poor start to the season, but it can all turn around. Man that hasn't had a poor start to the season is Kevin Pescalti. This guy is on rails all season, creeping up that championship order with pure consistency, not making errors. He goes up against a wild card in Tony Aleteo. To tell you one thing about this is an unknown. We don't know what this guy in the E92 is going to bring. Well, they're both in the E92s. We're not going to know what this wild card is going to bring to the battle here. Haven't watched the chase run yet. Pescalti also won't know. He won't know what he's expecting here. I think Pescalti, though, is going to go for a flyer of a lead run as the higher qualifier and hope that gets the damage done.
He certainly is. And here we go through the gears. Oh, look at this. Pescalti already starts to drive away. Tony Aleteo left, waiting and looking down the track as Kevin Pescalti absolutely up and goes through the centre circuit now as Kevin Pescalti gets deep in outside zone 4. Through the centre he goes, and there is a mile of ground between these 2 guys. It just goes to show you that national level driver to the Drift Masters level, how fast these guys are.
Yeah, we've seen it a couple of times at wildcards who will put in great qualifying runs this season and get into the show, and all of a sudden, I'm not saying that there's any slow cars in this competition. You could have 600-700 horsepower and it sounds like a fast car, but the way these guys have gripped up these Drift Masters cars, it shows right there how fast they are around the circuit. And when you put a national car versus European car, you start to see the differences and how difficult it is to drive at the speed those Drift Masters drivers are driving at. And I think we're getting a good example of that here.
Yeah, we certainly are getting a real, it's a good show, and you can see, I'm just looking back at Tony's run, and he is shortcutting the circuit. His shallow line, he's missing those outside zones, he's trying to shortcut as much as he can to try and get any form of proximity with Kevin Pescalti. And Kevin Pescalti, as soon as he applies the throttle, he's just disappearing away.
Yeah, for anyone who's just new to drifting, what we're trying to say here is that Kevin Pescalti's taking the long way around,
yep,
and he's still leaving his opponent for dead as he shortcuts the track.
Yeah,
that's the difference in speed, not neck to neck.
No,
with even an advantage, he's still leaving him from far behind. So Kevin Pescalti now in the chase position. I'm thinking any proximity here around this circuit, he's going top 16. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, well, there we go. Kevin Pescalti to chase down Tony Aleteo. And a big initiation, he goes for it. He knows he's got nothing to lose now. He just needs to put on a show. Goes very deep in outside zone 2. Kevin Pescalti giving him the room. The spot would have on the radio saying, look, you've got this one in the bag. Just play it safe. Nothing too dramatic. Nice line. Misses outside zone 4, though. They come through the centre of the circuit. Early transition from Pescalti. Trying to look a little bit rock there as he goes for a transition up to the door and makes it work as the car shuts down. Almost big contact, but Pescalti holds it together.
Yeah, Pescalti making hard work of it.
Yeah,
he maybe backed off a little too much and had to do some long handbrake drags to stay with some fluidity, but it looked to me like Tony randomly shuts down when he's at the full throttle area at the end of the track.
Oh, look at this contact
look at that.
on initiation. Pescalti getting a little bit hungry there, taking a bite out the back of that BMW.
Not sure it upset Tony too much,
no,
but I think, to be honest, Pescalti played it probably a little too safe. I was impressed with Tony's lead run, did very, very well. Doing the right thing. Cuts the course a little bit here, tight. Pescalti up over the curbs, trying to match it. This is where Pescalti transitions too soon. Now has to slam the handbrake here, slowing him down. And he has to kind of go for this early transition up onto the wall. But what happens, Tony? He's on full throttle. He's heading up towards the wall. Oh, he's going to go into the wall. That's why. He backs off. He thinks he's going to hit that wall, and he doesn't. But that's going to be a big deduction from the judges. And if it wasn't an obvious decision at that point, it certainly was after that mistake, as the judges will rock in with their scores very shortly. Place absolutely ram-packed here in Finland. There is standing room only, barely. 8,000-10,000 people cramming into this Mika circuit right in the middle of a theme park, which I was actually on some of the roller coasters yesterday. Nice, I never did that during a drift event before, but it added to the adrenaline. And here we go, results are about to drop in. It's going to be Kevin Pescalti getting the win. Kevin Pescalti goes through to the top 16, and his championship points are racking up here.
Up now, Dave.
Making very little mistakes this year.
Look, he's collecting them all, and he knows.
He's the sneaky guy in the hedge. Just everyone's running on the track. He's running beside the track, in the hedge, and then just about to burst out in the last couple of 2 rounds, right in the championship hunt. And he's always smiling. Great guy behind the scenes, a real ambassador for the sport in Hungary and across Europe. And look, a nice showing for Tony there. Got a nice dip his toe in the Drift Masters water, but he got bitten off by Kevin Pescalti in the top 32.
Yeah, he certainly did. Well, he leaves it, and he would know that, the honour of being a wildcard driver here at Drift Masters means a lot to these guys, and he would have earned so much knowledge from that battle alone that he would take it away. There we go. Look, his team even having fun, even though they knocked out top 32, Dave.
Yeah, they're Huskies or Wolves? They're very aggressive.
Wolves. I'm going to go Wolves.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, he did his best out there. Now we move on to another wild card, but a wild card that we know a lot about. It's Nik Nak from Latvia. This is a guy that's been in many Drift Masters events and taking some big names down along the way and all over the world. He goes up against Joakim Andersson, who's looking on form this weekend. This one is going to be very close. I wouldn't be able to pick this one on form right now.
No, nor would I. But look, Nik Nak in the top 10 in qualifying means he's got an incredible lead line. Let's see if that is translated right now as he fires through into outside zone 2. He goes. Joakim Andersson, though, takes that opportunity, leaves him the room to manoeuvre now as they transition through the centre of the circuit. And Nicklas Bertans on a very nice lead line down into outside zone 5. Joakim Andersson seems to be making a few scrappy mistakes, doesn't take the opportunity to get back up on the door, and he does, but right across the line.
Yeah, it's a clean run from both of these guys, but nothing wow from the leader of the chase for me. It was smooth. It's one of those kind of calculated runs from both guys, not making any big errors. I like Joakim Andersson's rear light just before even the initiate says, I want to get out of here as quickly as I can. You know what, for me, Nicklas Bertans, that lead line was pretty good. It was solid the whole way through. There was a little bit of handbrake dragging through some of the outer zones. Didn't affect Andersson. Andersson's cutting course here to stay with him, but it doesn't really get up on the door at any point. Big handbrake drag here from Nicklas Bertans, but I'll be honest, nothing really that you could deduct from affecting the chase car. And then Andersson tries to make that kind of, I don't know, big dive across the last corner. Kind of makes it work, kind of doesn't. I think this one's going to be interesting because now Andersson's in the lead. We know that Nik Nak's chase driving is his strongest sword. So this is where he's going to have to prove that.
He certainly is going to have to prove that, but Joakim Andersson, for me, just never took none of the opportunities that were available there in that chase position. And now he's put himself in a position where he's opened the door for Nicklas Bertans to really kind of claim something back in this half of the battle. They get the thumbs up all around the car, slam into gear. Bertans to chase down Joakim Andersson for a spot in the top 16 awaits here in Finland at round 3, and Joakim Andersson absolutely screams away. He's going to try and drag race Nicklas Bertans away and out of this, but Bertans shortcuts outside zone 2 to gain back some lost ground. Nice transition from Joakim Andersson as he goes deep in outside zone 4, but Bertans is right on the door as Bertans transitions bang up onto the back bumper. He goes, oh, and he over-rotates, and Joakim Andersson drives himself across the line.
It was the bump, you could see it. Bertans was already on full angle when he hit that bump, and he came off the bump. He couldn't transition the car. The front wheels were off the ground. He couldn't transition it.
You know, he's been doing it all day, and I wondered if it was the car or if it was just his mentality or something was going on. And, you know, we didn't see it in obviously the first half of the run. And I thought, oh, maybe they've cured that problem. But nearly every run of practice I watched earlier, he kept doing the same thing.
And now watch this. As he goes, he's getting aggressive here. Now, when he transitions, watch Andersson goes deep over the bump. Watch the rear of the car. Watch Bertans. He hits the bump, and as he hits the bump, it actually puts the car on mega angle and he can't pull the steering back. Similar to how Jack Shanahan almost over-rotated. Look, it's washing the car. He stays on angle. He can't pull that car back. Gets a little lost in the smoke, and Andersson's gone. Andersson has this one in the bag as far as I can see, which it would have been very close on the first run. But for me right now, it looks like Bertans makes an unforced error in the chase, and that could be the end of it. And even the body language from Bertans would suggest that.
Yeah, it would. And look at this, Joakim Andersson, always stone cold, always serious business there. Decisions in.
Yeah, Joakim Andersson gets the win. You can see what it means to him. The Swede goes through to the top 16, and one error is all it takes to knock out Nik Nak and send him home as a wild card. And you know what? I would have nearly put some money on him as being the favorite with, you know, the amount of wins he's had all over the world. But now if you look at Rovanperä and Nik Nak out in the top 32, this event has a lot of surprises in store for sure.
It certainly does. Look, it's going to throw up a few surprises. It's going to throw a few new names into the ring as we move through competition. But now we step to the line to a battle that every single person here has been waiting to see. Lauri Heinonen.
Lauri Heinonen has so many fans here. I've seen so much yellow and blue and purple. It's incredible. The guy is very reserved, but his fans, they are not very reserved at all. In fact, all the personalities of all his fans are almost the opposite of Lauri. Lauri's getting the job done. He's the stone cold killer. The fans are there to have the party around him. And he goes up against a bit of an unknown entity for us in Alexander Kosohov from the Ukraine. He's a good competitor. We've watched him do some good runs. This is not going to be a walk in the park for Lauri Heinonen, who's definitely looking one over the shoulder at Duane McKeever, who's wallowing in it one more time right now, and Wiańczek, who's starting to claw back into the fight. Heinonen needs this for the championship. He needs to take down the unknown entity of Alexander Kosohov right now.
Yeah, look, Kosohov now can make a big upset in the championship, but Lauri Heinonen looks like his business as usual as he absolutely nails that qualifying line. Oh, and he tags the wall too hard. It upsets him. Kosohov deals with it, and now he gets himself into the mix. Shortcuts the circuit, looks for outside zone 4 now as Kosohov says, well, there's a little chink in the armour as he almost takes the back end of Heinenen's car. Waits for the transition. Big snappy one from Kosohov as the Ukrainian driver goes for the kill.
Oh, Kosohov barely gets out of the wall after the finish line. He threw everything at Lauri Heinonen, and there it is, one error. That's all we talk about this weekend. Heinonen makes that error. He goes into the wall on the first corner. Watch this, goes in quite heavy, unsettles the car, and you've got to see, look, Goczał has to back off a little bit at that point. Look, it's a big hit, gets back on it though, to be fair to Lauri Heinonen, but the judges will watch that and say that's an error. From there, Heinonen makes no mistakes throughout the rest of the course, but Goczał smells the blood in the water and says, hey, if you're going to make a mistake, this could be my day, and he starts going for it.
He certainly does go for it. Some of these dives, some of these transitions were very, very brave from the Ukrainian, and you can see, look at Heinonen, super focused in the car. He knows he can't make one. Look at that dive, bam, the snappy transition, looks for it and says, this is the opportunity to get on the door.
Well, I'll tell you what, for Heinen's championship, he's got to take the gloves off here. He's got to go for it.
Yeah.
We now know that Alexander Kosohov is a contender here. Lauri Heinonen wouldn't have known that until now. At this moment in time, and the duct tape's back out again, roll number 17 being used to put Lauri Heinen's car back together. But Kosohov, as the unknown entry, maybe Heinonen underestimated the unknown of Kosohov from the Ukraine. Now Heinonen, you can see him staggered back. He has to go on the door. Heinonen focused right now. He has to put in the chase run of his lifetime to overturn what happened on the first run and get the win. This, and every Finnish fan in here, is going to be big.
Dave, he looks uncomfortable in the car. He looks like he's a little bit rocked. He's off the line. He's through the gears now. He's matching the pace. He's matching the distance away, and he wants to be on the door and on the back bumper. He knows he can't let Kosohov get away. Kosohov, no problems in that outside zone as he absolutely nails it. Looks for that inside zone, just about drops a wheel in it, and he goes wide now. The bumper removed as Lauri Heinonen makes contact with him. They transition down. Oh, wheels dropped from the Ukrainian as they flick back to outlet zone 6. Lauri Heinonen looks for the door, and he's on him, and he tags him, and it's a scrappy lead from the Ukrainian.
You know what? I think that's turned right around. Two big errors from Kosohov through the run. We had one error from Heinonen on the first run, but it looked to me like two. One of them coming at the end of outer zone 2. Kosohov stays way too late in the outer zone and actually nearly misses the inside zone, messing up Lauri Heinonen, and then he drops wheels later on. Watch this scene. As they come into the first corner, I thought Heinonen had let him go. I thought it was going to be a bit of a disaster, but Kosohov comes on and off power. Heinen's in. Now watch the end of this corner as Kosohov stays way too deep in the outer zone, and then he misses that inner zone. So he can't. Now watch this as they come out. He stays deep, misses the inner zone, messes up Heinonen. Look at Heinen's transition. It's absolutely outrageous as he stays in it. And Kosohov goes, he wouldn't have felt that. And now this is a big mistake as well. Kosohov gets the other track, drops a wheel. Heinonen has to back off a little bit there and get back on it again. Kosohov dropping a wheel off the track, Heinonen staying with him. So I'm not sure. I think Heinonen getting back into the fight there as much as he could do in that chase run without the perfect lead run ahead of him.
Well, there we go. The Finnish fans enjoyed that one. And just being told information that this is like almost the backyard to Heinenen's house. He's only 200 kilometres away from this.
200 kilometres away is the backyard.
No, he's not far. He's not far away, apparently.
That's like, Finland for you. If they say down the road here, expect a couple of hours. Okay, let's see which way it's going to go. And the championship fight stays with Lauri Heinonen as he goes through to the top 16, and the fans here elated with the result. Quick one for you, Kev. It looked to me like those two big errors from Kosohov costing them the win there.
Yeah, it definitely did come down to errors on those two runs. Lauri being able to have quite a nice lead run, except for his small error at outer zone 2. Alexander having lots of errors on his lead run. And then you switch him around to the chase runs then. Alexander did have proximity in places, but he was making mistakes to maintain that proximity. And Lauri having a very, very good chase for the lead run that Alexander gave him. So overall, Lauri definitely having a cleaner lead and chase run overall.
Thanks, Kev. We saw some shots of lovely,
that girl,
lovely young lady. She's been waving that flag for about 3 hours.
No, that was all day yesterday as well.
Someone needs to tag her out and just say, well, I'll take it for a while.
Right, Marko Zakaril. We spoke about him yesterday. Kind of had a hire about 2 years ago in Ferropolis in Germany. From them, we haven't seen a lot. We've been waiting for him to make a move. Timo Kotola, though, he's here for fun days. This guy loves to have fun.
Yeah, and he's also got some diesel power going on. So he is also Finnish, so everyone here absolutely loves Timo. And Timo now looked like the car was working great. He's actually, you know, not too far away from Zakaril when it comes to qualifying position, 14th and 19th. This is going to be a close one. Black smoke from the bonnet, white smoke from the rear tires. This is where it gets interesting as we come off the line in the top 32. Timo to chase in Marko Zakaril. Timo's lost the back end of the car. He's kept it. How has he held that one? Massive angle in the chase position. Doesn't seem to have hurt him at all as he stays with Marko Zakaril. Backwards entry in the chase position, but he's losing a lot of ground to the Czech Republic driver now. As Zakaril barely getting those outer zones, but he is firing through the course, gets a bit scrappy. Teemu cannot catch Marko Zacherl towards the end, but what about that entry in the chase position?
Yeah, that was insane. That was insane. Now, I'm going to go back and I'll make a controversial statement and say Marko Zacherl was off that qualifying line, hence why he gained ground on Timo Pöytälaakso, because Pöytälaakso was on the qualifying line.
Well, there you have it. It's not it's white smoke for the Pope, right? I don't know what black smoke means. It's supposed to be drifting. Look, it's 90 degrees on the first corner.
Right, now watch Marko Zacherl's lead line. Yep, he's in outside zone 2, but just about. He's not flirting with the wall. He's not really doing anything too far. Now watch this as he transitions. He's on those white marks, barely gets to outside zone 4, and when he transitions to 5, he doesn't get there. It doesn't really fulfill that zone fully. Even 6, he kind of shortcuts the edge of the box. Watch. Then he kind of takes a weird line to outside zone 7, and he's shallow on 7. I feel that's going to come into play on the judging decision as we swap him around. Pöytälaakso on the line, ready to lead out Marko Zacherl. And I tell you what, Zacherl won't be able to deal with that initiation if he throws that in again.
I don't think anyone can deal with that initiation if he throws it in again, but I don't think it was an intentional initiation. I think he lost a little bit of a... Well, maybe it is. We'll find out. We don't know what Timo is thinking right now. Goes for the big angle on entry. Big angle again, and he's in the wall. Big error.
He's fouled out of it.
Tell you one thing he hasn't done is made that work. He smashed into the wall and now, it's a messy one. Zacherl doesn't know whether to keep going or stop. Timo shuts it down. That looks to me like he's going to hand that one to Zacherl. It's a thumbs up from Timo to Zacherl saying, sorry, buddy, I tried something special. It didn't quite pay off.
No, it didn't. It didn't. And I wonder, he made contact with the wall yesterday in practice and the car just shut down. I wonder if there's an issue as soon as he hits the wall or he has kind of upset that car just says no more. let's go back to the paddock.
To be honest with you, he went for the big angle. He went up on the curb as well, which I'm not sure if he intended to, which obviously made the back end of the car very light. We'll see it from inside the car here to see if we can see. To watch the curb here on the rear wheels. He throws it up. He hits the wheels are. He's lost all traction there, so he's just firing through, and then he's not able to get that car back on throttle. He's hit it's a big hit on the back with the tire bail as well. And then Zacherl's like, what's happening? Do we keep going? Do we stop? Zacherl, I think, almost hits
was in the back.
He hits him here again. Watch, he goes at it again, and then he starts to shoot forward. Then does he hit him here? He does. Hit him again. So Zacherl avoids the first incident and causes the second one, and it's a bit of carnage between these two guys. And I think it's going to be, thankfully for the judges, it's an easier decision than most that has happened before. But it looks to me like Marko Zacherl, with that little nod to the camera, says, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get the win here. And I think this is going to be an obvious decision. Unfortunately for Timo, he's going to drop out of top 32 unless there was something else at play. But it looked to me like an unforced error. Went too wide on the initiation. Actually put too much angle into the chase and the lead, in my opinion. But he's a showman, that's what they do.
I said it, he is a showman, Dave. Well, decision's in.
Decision's in, I think it's going to be an obvious one, and going through to the top 16. Marko Zacherl gets the win, and he goes through to the top 16. No big cheers, because of course a Finnish driver has been eliminated, and we've whittled down half the Finnish drivers at this point. But it's going to be interesting to see how Marko Zacherl adapts. So let's go down to the track. Nick's down with Timo. Ask him, Nick, what went wrong? He went crazy on the initiation on both runs, and the car shut off.
Yeah, that was going to be my exact question. What went wrong there? You seem to push it a little bit too much into the first corner.
Yeah, I went too hard.
And just a word for some of these fans, because you've been enjoying yourself here on track yesterday, on top of the car, celebrating. Have you been enjoying the atmosphere?
Look at this. For sure.
It's been absolutely brilliant. Listen, unlucky on the run, and we'll hopefully see you next time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he smiles, but he's disappointed.
Man of many words.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
He loves it. Look, he's a showman, but he hasn't got a lot to say.
I'll tell you one thing. He lets his driving and his expressions do the talking.
Yeah.
And the place is hopping here in Finland. This is the best atmosphere I think I've ever witnessed at a drift event. Never mind a European drift event. And Timo is definitely going to absolutely send it into the pits here, probably. And he's been told by the marshals, Timo, just please calm down. Half the car is falling off. Just relax. We're going back to a huge battle on the start line, and it's a huge battle for the championship. McKeever, how it goes one more time with Korpuliński. Mistakes from both sides, some great moments. McKeever, who currently is the championship leader, is now on the ropes in the top 32 against one of the most talented drivers on the grid, Paweł Korpuliński. Plenty of podiums between both of these guys, and no one wants to go home this early. This is a big one.
This is a huge one, and I'll tell you why it's even bigger again is because Vincek is through into top 16. Vincek is a very good friend of Korpuliński. He'll be in the paddock watching the battle, and he'll want his fellow Polishman to take down the Irishman and ruin the championship for him. They're off the line through the gears. McKeever looks for the down the door for this one as Korpuliński absolutely nails it this time on that qualifying line. No mistakes as he disposes of the back bumper in the face of McKeever. They transition through and Korpuliński goes super wide. McKeever transitions before him, looks for the outside zone, a small wobble, but it doesn't upset McKeever as he gets himself in it, and McKeever almost over-rotates.
I'm not so sure. Did McKeever panic when he saw the bumper coming towards him? Did he just have a moment's lapse of concentration? Because that's it. I think the bumper scared Duane McKeever. I think he thought it was the car through the smoke. I'm just making a big statement here. I don't know, we'll probably have Nick have a chat with them later, but to me it looked like McKeever transitions through the smoke, sees the bumper and thinks it's the car.
Well, let's have a look at the angle and the line that he goes on to get there, because that's going to kind of determine a lot here.
Watch McKeever's view, right? As he's coming through, it's smoke in the windscreen, right? Watch, as they come through.
No,
it's before it.
It's before it, Dave. That's a massive mistake from McKeever. Watch the transition from McKeever. He goes on big angle, he goes for the dive, and he's not accelerating. He's on big angle and he knows he's going to over-rotate until the car is settled. Oh. I've got a feeling there that was an error from McKeever. Look, the bumpers, it doesn't come off until there.
And how early is Korpuliński on the throttle is what the judges will look at in that situation as well.
He's on the throttle.
It looks like he is. So I'm not sure what way it's gonna play out here, and the judges having a good look at this one. They've got plenty of angles that they can have a look at it on, and angles that sometimes we don't even see. But this means Duane McKeever right now is sitting in the lead position, the place he doesn't want to be, maybe with a disadvantage. We're not going to speculate too much, but to me it looked like an unforced error and an over-rotation from McKeever, which means Korpuliński now can go for it, go for the door, seal the deal, nail in the coffin. Here we go.
Is he going to go for it though, or is he going to play it safe? It looks like he might play it a little bit safe here on this second outside zone as McKeever wanders in it. He's not as deep as what Korpuliński was, but now Korpuliński goes for the dive across the circuit. McKeever out into the outside zone and through the smoke comes Korpuliński. Oh, and again a big error from Duane McKeever as he throws the car backwards towards outside zone 6, and Korpuliński has just potentially taken down the championship leader, Dave.
Do you know what I've just thought about? At the last two rounds, if you've gone into a round as the championship leader, you've gone out in the top 32. That to me looks like a steering issue with McKeever's car. That looks to me like something's wrong with that car on the front end.
Well, hey, let's go back to what information we found out yesterday that Jack Shanahan said, and that was going over that bump outside zone 5 was locking the steering wheel. Look at this, Dave. He comes over, he's on full lock. He's got no more to give. He tries to turn the car out, but he knows he can't go on the throttle. Korpuliński comes in there hot backwards and he says, well, you absolutely parked it on outside zone 5.
That's pretty much an over-rotation, because that's not a decel zone, and he is decelling massively there. So this could be a huge upset in the top 32 with our championship points leader going out to a driver that hasn't been at all the rounds yet so far. Technically, it's Korpuliński back in business out of nowhere. I love this championship. You never know what's going to happen at any point. We're supposed to be experts. There is no experts. Let's see which way the judges go. Do they agree? And it looks like they do. Paweł Korpuliński goes through to the top 16, taking out the man to beat this weekend, Duane McKeever. Oh, big one. I'm going to go back to Kevin. It was an obvious one, Kevin. Over rotations on both runs, it looked to me like, from Duane McKeever.
Yeah, unfortunately, Duane just making an absolutely crucial mistake there in the second run and almost having an incomplete. And he definitely was at a disadvantage coming from the first run as well, so he really couldn't afford to make a large error like that. Fortunately, Duane just throwing it away and handing it over to Korpuliński.
There you have it. We got Nick Bright. He's down on the track. Nick, was there something up with Duane's car? He just pushed too hard?
Yeah, that was the question I was going to ask. Was there an issue there, Duane, with the car?
No, not really. Just really for what I've been driving on all day. Down there, I got a lot slippier. I don't know what happened. The car washed really wide, and just for what I wasn't doing all weekend, it's like maybe like the track temps have changed or something, and I wasn't used to it. But big change for me, and to be honest, I'm totally got it that I got out the top 32. It's probably ruining my championship, but well, what can you do?
Yeah, we'll see if you can bounce back next time. Thank you, mate.
Do you know what? I love Duane McKeever. Could have so easily blamed the car there. Could have just said, oh yeah, the steering of the car
problem.
Wasn't my fault. No, proper Duane McKeever. No, I messed it up. I messed it up, and I like that because he's being honest. It shows that even if you are the leader of the championship, you can make mistakes, and we've watched that in the last 2 rounds. Wiańczek makes a mistake at round 2, McKeever falls off, and Wiańczek's probably in the pits doing car wheels. McKeever's fallen off the top step. Here we go. And I'll tell you, one man that's been looking at that is Jack Shanahan as well, because he goes up against Jakob Kroll, and both of these guys can now make some big ground on the championship. It's all wide open. Jakob Kroll qualifying in 27th position. Jack Shanahan in absolutely torrential rain qualifying in 6th position. Conor Shanahan makes it through to top 16. Will his brother follow suit? Well, Jakob Kroll would love to break up the family here and say, no, I'm going to take you down. And after what I've just witnessed, all bets are off here in Finland.
Yeah, all bets are off, Dave, because Shanahan, look at him, he sits in the car, collected, slams the door closed, slots the car into gear and says, well, who knows? Who knows what can happen here? They're through the start line, through the gears they go. Jakob Kroll says this could be a weekend for anyone as they fire in. Shanahan goes lovely to outside zone 2. What a line from Shanahan as he gets it dialed. Jakob Kroll takes the inside line, looks for the transition as he goes up and over the grass. No such problems for Shanahan in the lead. Jakob Kroll, look at this early transition, trying to make up some lost ground. But Shanahan's on rails and he hits him into that outside zone, and Jakob Kroll has to shut it down.
You know what, speaking of what McKeever was talking about, that does look like there's a lot less grip there. I think Shanahan went in a lot harder than he thought there, and then Kroll had no stopping power whatsoever in that last corner. Looks like he made contact.
Yeah, he certainly did. Jakob Kroll really, for me, was playing catch-up from initiation. You can see him out of outside zone 2. Mirrors the angle, but kind of doesn't mirror the line because he's trying to keep up with Shanahan. Shanahan's on a flyer. Look at that. There's 2 wheels over the grass for Jakob Kroll through the centre of the circuit. And they absolutely blisteringly pace come through there. Look at this. He's so fast. But as he throws it in, Shanahan dials that car an angle, and there's no way Jakob Kroll can slow down.
No, Jakob Kroll hits the front wheel of Shanahan's car as well, which is not what you want to do. So Shanahan doing a good job. He has to steer that out of the wall there because he won't expect that hit coming.
No.
But all of a sudden he's got to straighten up the steering, and Shanahan, he was lucky both cars didn't end up in the wall there.
Very, very lucky. But there we go. And I'm going to wonder if Shanahan will try and call a competition timeout to look at that car potentially, because if the front wheels are both pointing in the same direction.
But it looks like he's saying the car is
fine. Yeah,
is okay. He will get asked by Marson if
it does
okay.
look damaged. You can see here physically with the camber on the front wheels. I'm going to say there's some damage there to Shanahan's car.
They're definitely having a look at Jakob Kroll's here at the front of it. The steering is going left, right, just to make sure it's attached, I guess, after a hit like that. But if Jakob Kroll has got any issues here and has to retire, he'll be out of the competition.
Yeah, look at that front wheel on Shanahan's car. There's blatant damage there to Shanahan's front wheel, and I wonder if he's going to take the opportunity or if he's going to try and roll with it. He has now got the opportunity, but it is only a 10-minute competition timeout, Dave, and look at this. Look, you can see.
So Jack Shanahan now is just getting the marshal to have a look and see if everything's okay on the front of his car. Judges have locked in that it is Kroll at fault for the incident, so Jack Shanahan will be given the option of whether he wants to continue and get it done, or I think that was a little thumbs up there. I think he said, we're not going to fix both of these cars in the top 32. Let's just get it done. He has got essentially an inactive against Jakob Kroll, so he's going to have to just pass the circuit here, Jack Shanahan, to make sure it works. And it looks like, I think he's saying, yeah, I think let's just go for it. He's in this. Wow. That's such a Jack Shanahan thing to say.
I mean, it is, and I've seen him drive cars that have been almost bent in half sometimes. Yeah. These mentality of these drivers, they are. If it kind of goes in a straight line,
Shanahan said he's good to run it. He said he's going to go for it. He said, I can't be bothered with 10 minutes fixing it. I'll just go. So will that prove to be a mistake, or is he happy enough to drive it whatever way it is? And here we go. He's in the chase position. He's right behind Jakob Kroll. It was a very aggressive entry from Jack Shanahan. Didn't need to be. He's taking a bit more of a risk than he needs to right now as he chases up Jakob Kroll on a good line here in the lead position. Jakob Kroll, nice, a little tight on the inside zone there. Judges won't like that from Jakob Kroll as Shanahan now just playing cat and mouse with that lead driver, not being overly aggressive. And this is where everybody seems to be making some mistakes as Jakob Kroll goes heavy to the wall here. Shanahan goes up onto the door. Looks like job done for Jack Shanahan for me.
Yeah, certainly is. Job done. Business as usual for the young Irishman. And you know what, Jakob Kroll there just taking a bit too much out of it. That car didn't look like it wanted to drive very nice for Shanahan. You could see the way he was just playing with Kroll. He didn't look comfortable in the car, Shanahan.
I think he would have known from spotter, Conor Shanahan would have been on the radio saying, just get around and don't be left too far behind, because when you see the deem of fault, that's what Shanahan was told, that Kroll was at fault. And he'll know straight away that that's an inactive from Kroll then.
And you know
so he's going to say, just put in a run, get it done, and we'll go to top 16 and we'll figure the car out over the next hour and a half or so before we head to the parade.
I wonder if he was concerned that maybe they took it back to the paddock to repair it, they wouldn't get it done within the allotted time, and he wouldn't have got back out and he would have lost the battle that way.
Yeah, I think he knew that whatever way the wheel is facing, I can get around here in some way or shape or form. I think we're going to make this one official. It is the second last battle in our top 32, and it is going to be a pretty obvious one, I think, as it is indeed. It is going to be Jack Shanahan getting the win and going through to the top 16. Both Shanahan brothers into the top 16. But it looks to me like all the other Irish out of the competition at that point. And the big story, Duane McKeever, current championship points leader, out of competition. And it's a fairly obvious one. I think Nick Bright is down there on the track. And he is with Jack Shanahan. And Jack getting through the top 16. Another bit of contact. Plenty of work to do for the Shanahan team this weekend. Nick, they can't stay out of the wars.
Yeah, so it seems. Just tell us what happened there, Jack. It seemed like it was touch and go as to whether you were going to go out for the second run.
Yeah, just obviously the contact after the last transition. I'm not really too sure what happened. I don't know, did he make a crazy dive or what? But as I got back into outer zone 6, I just got back into power and I felt like he jumped on top of me basically. So I just wasn't too sure if there was a bin nailed in the front, but everything seemed to be okay. And Marston checked it over. Didn't feel perfect on the chase run, but I think we just done enough, and yeah, we're happy with that now.
All right, well, we'll let you get back to the garage and get it sorted.
Sure, thank you.
Thanks, Nick. So both Shanahan brothers through to the top 16, and they're kind of creeping in, 4th, 5th, 6th in the championship right now, along with Vianczek starting to feel a bit more confident.
Yeah.
But Lauri Heinen, he's through. Right up there in the mix, and he's through. We had Nakamura drop out. He didn't qualify yesterday, unfortunately. So Lauri Heinen, I think, at this point in time, could be looking at one of the top guys in the championship, but that's very early stages in this competition as we move on to our last battle. And by no means have we ever left you with anything but a crazy last battle in the top 32. And here's another one. Benediktas Szczerba from Lithuania going up against Kuba Puszczanski from Poland. Two huge superstars, one space in the top 16 left. This is going to be insane. It's going to be insane.
Look, for me, I'm going to go out there on a whim and say we've got one man that likes to touch the walls, likes to knock the tail lights out of the car, and we've got another man on the other side of the track that likes to keep it clean. He hasn't touched many walls. He's kept it absolutely strictly business and super professional. Can he play this one out as Szczerba fires in? Look at Puszczanski absolutely glued to the side. Shallow angle, though, not what the judges were looking for. As Szczerba dials on the angle, the Lithuanian fires through, looks for it, but Puszczanski's with him, and he's got the pace, and he's got the car, and he's got the machinery to get this one done as Szczerba looks for the outside zone, but Puszczanski through the smoke wavers and wobbles up to the outside zone and onto the door.
You know what I was just about to say, bar being a little too tight on the inside chicane, Szczerba's lead run was sensational.
Yeah.
And Puszczanski, he's shallow, but also straightening up a little bit, the angle quite throughout. Watch Szczerba throw this to the wall. He goes wide early, and he gets there onto the zone just in time. And look at the back end of this BMW's absolutely massaged that outside zone the whole way around. And then in the middle, Puszczanski is right on the inside of the track. Again here, he loses a little bit of ground. And this is all okay. I think Kuba's doing a good job here, but it's the last corner where the big error comes. Szczerba fires up onto the wall, and you can see Puszczanski. Watch on the inside. He gets too tight. Oh, very little angle there from Puszczanski as he goes across the line. So Puszczanski's going to have to tidy up that lead run to get himself back in the mix, and Szczerba's got to hope that he doesn't make any big errors.
Yeah, we've seen him make errors before and take himself out of competition. That's the biggest problem with Benediktas Szczerba. Car slot into gear. Kuba Puszczanski to lead out. Benediktas Szczerba for the final spot in top 16 awaits as they fire through, flicks the car across the circuit. Szczerba initiates way early, but makes it stick and sticks it to the side of that GR86 as they get into that outside zone 2. Puszczanski fires through, looks for outside zone 4, and Szczerba is absolutely with him, glued to the door the whole way through. Big transition though from Kuba Puszczanski as he looks for outside zone 6 and 7. Up on the wall he goes, and Szczerba backs it into wall-to-wall. Job done.
You know what, I wouldn't really been able to split this one at the start. Both these guys come in with very similar form.
Yeah.
Had some great moments and some moments of, I would say, probably uncharacteristic error over the last couple of rounds, but to me it looks like Szczerba is driving like a man possessed. His angle in the chase position going into that first corner was just silly. He was on way more angle than the lead car, and Puszczanski we know is a steady driver. He's such an experienced and talented guy, but it looked to me like Szczerba was bringing a bit more of the X factor, a bit more of the risk across the two runs.
Yeah, he was firing in some more moves, and he was closer on proximity. Look at this, he makes that big dive down on the inside, but Puszczanski stays on throttle and tries it, and actually almost pulls away, and Szczerba has to fire through, and look where he ends up this time. He's on the inside of the circuit and then washes up towards outside zone 7. It's a bit of a cat and mouse, Dave, if you like.
For sure, and I think Szczerba knows the quality of Puszczanski, knew he had to push, and there'll be smiles all around from both of these guys, but I think if we are correct, The judges rewarding the risk factor here, and that's what it's all about in drifting. We want those moments where you gasp, where you just go, wow, how did they get away with that? You know, when the goosebumps come up on your arm. That's what you want from these guys. These are the best of the best. And I think it looked to me like Cherba bringing a little bit of that, you know, risky moves across the track. Let's see which way the judges go. They're having a good debate on this one, which to me seems like it's not as obvious as we might think it is. And it looks to me like...
I think it's going to be this, what you pointed out with Peskonski on that outside zone 7 and what Cherba did on the outside zone 7.
He cut the corner on the curb. He went very much on the curb for the whole transition. And that's not going to be a good thing for the judges, for sure. As we see Buddha from Poland, YouTube superstar.
Yeah, YouTube superstar. Everyone getting down in the paddock, getting some selfies with him.
Yeah, just came to Finland to check out the action. Heard a lot about it. Looking forward to the big final in Poland. And let's see which way this one's going to go. And it's going to be a Benediktas Cherba getting the win. Benediktas Cherba gets the win. It's a split decision, but Cherba gets the win and goes through. He has a look at that one more time symbol as well and says, did I get it? Me? Or did I win? And he did win. He's happy about it. Kevin O'Connell, talk to me. Tough one, little split decision between the boys in the tower.
Yeah, tough one, a lot happening in that battle, and but overall, Cherba just about taking the win. Cherba had, in my opinion, a slightly better lead run. He did make a mistake, though, on the final transition, which is, I think, why Vernon was saying that it was a little bit tighter than that. But for me, overall, it was the chase runs that really sealed the deal for Cherba. He was more aggressive, definitely on Kuba's door a lot more throughout, whereas Kuba was, had proximity, but he was having to shallow up his line and his angle to maintain that proximity, which Cherba didn't have to do. One note for that second run as well is that Cherba did have an error on the final transition. Again, what swayed Vernon a little bit more towards the one more time. So overall, it was quite a close battle, but Cherba just doing enough for me and David to take the win.
They have it close but no cigar. Nick is down with Kuba right now. Very close, but just didn't get the job done. Cherba wins. He must be devastated, Nick, out in top 32.
Yeah, I'm with Kuba now. How did you see that one? It was quite close.
Until the last decision of the judges, I didn't know who won. I think it was really nice battle. I think we were the last battle of the top 32. Then there was no time for the one more time. But this is the drift, and I'm really happy of the progress of the judges, of the spectators, of my team, and it was a good race.
Yeah, and just a word on the track here. It's a new circuit. A lot of the drivers enjoying it. What are your thoughts?
Track is really technical. It's a lot of walls. We a little bit destroyed the back of the cars, but I think everyone enjoy because there is really nice battles. We go really close, and it's super nice for the spectators.
All right, unlucky. This time we'll see you in Riga.
Yes, see you in Riga. Thank you.
They have it from Kuba. He's always smiling. He's having a good time. And you know what? The one thing about Kuba is he loves the sport. He sometimes even says, if I don't win, as long as the fans are happy, that's what it's all about. Well, here is the tail of the tape after our top 32. A very shocking top 32 where Conor Shanahan had to go to one more time to beat Kalle Rovanperä, who tried to climb over Conor Shanahan. Didn't quite work. He went out of competition. Grosz beat Nilsen. Rintanen continues his form, beating Itay, Sadeh, a 16-year-old from Israel. Mika Keski-Korpi, another Finn, beating Dylan Garvey because Dylan Garvey didn't turn up to the start line. Jarkko Jylhä, the wild card, beating Felix. Lindvall, after one more time, Eryk Goczał on form, beating Juha Pöytälaakso. Kevin Pesur also on form, beating Holovnia. And the big story from the top 32, Paweł Korpuliński taking down current championship leader Duane McKeever. Wiańsek, business as usual, taking down Oliver Randalou, but he put up a hell of a fight. Heidrich and Correa keeping his cool. Heidrich didn't, and Correa goes through. Piscalti continues the charge, beating Tony Agelato. And Nik Nak goes out against Joakim Andersson, who's on form. Laurie Heinen, well, the Finnish fans absolutely love seeing him taking down Alexander Kosahov in a tough battle. Marco Zaccarel did take down Timo Peltola after a mechanical failure for Peltola. Jack Shannon took out Jakob Krull, and then you saw it, Benediktas Cherba taking out Kuba Peskonski in our last battle of the top 32. It's heavy, it's crazy, but this is even crazier. Look at this top 16. Grosz against Shanahan, Rintanen, Keski-Korpi, Juha against Goczał, Pesur against Korpuliński, Wiańsek, Correa, Piscalti, Andersson, Heinen, Zaccarel, and Jack Shanahan against Benediktas Cherba. It is absolutely stacked here in Finland. Packed house, standing room only, ready to see who takes this one home today. They're going to be cheering for all the Finnish drivers. The championship now blown absolutely wide open. And at 4:55 today, we will finish out our finals, the top 16. An incredible event, an incredible backdrop, and we're in for a lot more twists and tales in this event before we go. For all you guys sitting at home, all you guys in the grandstands, we're back later with some incredible action. Get ready for the finals because you're going to need all your energy to see this one out in the theme park in Finland. We'll see you soon.